Welcome to another episode of 5th Edition Dungeons and Dragons. Descent into Avernus. Look at that, I did it. Everyone's unmuted. We're good, we're back. Hope everybody's surviving their time at home.
Stay at home. Stay the fuck at home.
Play D&D over the internet. Come on.
Stay safe.
And for those that don't know what system it is that we are using, it's Roll20. As I've actually seen that quite often asked. So, hi everybody, and welcome. Let's do introductions since it's been, what, like 2 years since we played?
It does kind of feel like it.
Feels like it's been some time. But let's start at the top right there. We've got Kashcah.
Hi, I'm Dungeon Master. Still haven't figured out what to say in this bit.
That's perfect. She plays everybody that isn't the players. And moving down and to the left from that, hold on, we've got Nightcaste.
Hello, I am Nightcaste. I'm playing Malvola. He's a Dragonborn Hexblade Warlock, I think. You seem to remember something about that from like way back in the day.
And then next to Nightcast we have Shy.
Hi, I'm Shy. I'm playing as Coyra, Elf Druid. And I vaguely remember that wood is evil.
And then next to her we've got NobiGit.
As he said, I'm NobiGit. I'm playing Grimm, a shifter, sort of holy monk, at least until Kashcah kills me again. I figure if I keep saying it, maybe it'll have the reverse effect and should deliberately keep me alive.
No.
It's worth a try.
Well, unless of course Palkas surges again and fireball again.
I'm trying.
I'm not trying to kill you. Vallen is trying to kill you.
Yes. And then next to me here is Ghostwoods.
Hi, I'm Ghostwoods, or Tim. I'm playing Thorn, an elven gloomstalker ranger with a slightly stabby problem.
Yes. And I play as Palkas, a wild magic sorcerer, or half-orc wild magic sorcerer, who tends to set the world on fire at the most inopportune times.
Literally.
Yep. In actuality, yes. So, let's move on to the recap of last episode. Thank you for the tune there, Kosh. Let's go
I
to
feel
the
like we could probably all just sing this.
No,
We've all played enough Fallout.
So,
Alright, anyway.
going back to last episode, we will not be recapping the entire series. That is for viewers to watch at their leisure, perhaps when falling asleep at night. But anyway, we've got episode 23 was previously Going to the Chapel. The Mist Wolves, which is our group, somehow were able to avoid detection in their rest in the ruins of a house near the graveyard. They then moved into the chapel a bit more stealthily this time. Grimm said a prayer to the Lathander stained glass window, or the stained glass window dedicated to Lathander is much more appropriate, and was gifted a magical katana in return. He then put it to use almost immediately upon then finding some Mezzoloth fighting a giant scorpion and several Dretch, which are devils and demons. A human man named Gideon Lightward then, or a human-appearing named man named Gideon Lightward then arrived and seemed to command the devils. The Mistwolves finished off the Dretch, which were demons, and some of the the Dretch, which were devils, and I can't remember now. Dretch and Mezzoloth.
The Dretch were demons.
Dretch were demons. All right. We finished off the Dretch and some of the Mezzoloth. Thorn was not trusting of the new human-like person, arrival, Gideon, and took a few shots at him, thinking him a devil. Grimm talked the situation back a step to at least be peaceful, though Gideon seemed to use the devils to fight demons in the crypts below. None of us trusted Gideon, but Grimm was able to get us past without need for further violence, though it also appeared Gideon had self-healed somehow. The Mistwolves entered the catacombs shortly thereafter and started their search for resistance and the remains of Ulder Ravenguard and his escort. By chance, they found him, but he had the Helm of Torm firmly on his head, and it seemed to be torturing him, or he was in torture from something, as he was shouting gibberish and clawing at it, attempting to take it off. In this episode, episode 24, Ulder Ravenguard. Kashcah, take it away.
Well, there's not much more to add to that, except as you kind of stand there, and yeah, you're completely right. The man is kind of crouched or kneeling in the pool, and he does have his hands kind of clutched at the gold helm, and he's trying to like claw it off his head any way that he can, and he is speaking words that he is speaking, right, and he kind of like his face contorts in one way, and while he's speaking what sounds like one language, and then his facial expression kind of changes to something more like hard and kind of grimacing, and he sounds like he's speaking a different language. So that's kind of what you see from him. What you notice, so you kind of stand there for a second taking that in, and as you stand there you see the wall behind him. You notice that the stonework of it ripples.
Wait, which wall?
Like this wall here.
Ah. What is that he's standing on? Is it water?
Yeah, it's water. Sorry, these are just like little wavy lines. So, this is a pool. Actually, Palkas, you're way back there.
Right.
But this is a pool. It mostly fills the room. There is a low wrought iron railing that's kind of right in front of it that you see, like, here, kind of wraps around.
Mm-hmm.
And the swirling water of the pool roils with shadow and is also shot through with patches of black ichor, where it looks like demons have fallen. And yeah, the man has got his back to you. And he's crouched among what look like human bodies kind of floating face down. And yeah, you're kind of taking that in for a moment when it looks like the stonework of the wall, like that he's actually facing, it looks like it just ripples, like it becomes liquid and it ripples.
The wall does.
The wall does. It just goes,
I'm sure that's nothing to worry about.
I'll ready an arrow, if I may.
Yeah.
Gonna move up closer.
Okay.
I believe that Shy also is in command still of a group of scorpions?
Oh no, scorpions. Yes.
Yes.
Which are these little tiny dots currently
Yep.
in this area?
Okay. So as
He's happy fellow.
Yeah.
They're not going to survive the fireball that emits from Palkas. I'm sorry.
I mean, nothing does, so...
Then there'll just be a
now,
crunchy
if it
snack.
were a swarm of cockroaches.
That's fair
Damn
enough.
it.
That's
That's
fair.
what I should have done. They can carry us the entire TNT.
And so from the center of this ripple, right, it's like it's rippling into kind of one specific point on the wall, opposite you, and from the center of this ripple you see step a big Minotaur looking dude.
But not a skeletal one, an actual Minotaur.
Here, hang on. I have a hand out.
Ooh.
I mean, is it better or worse?
There we go.
It's probably not immune to stabby type weapons.
Yay, thorns!
It's fleshy. Yay.
So let's roll some initiative. Let's do
That's a
that.
load of bull. Sorry, had to be said.
Did it walk through and
Yes,
look
I'm paying for it
unconcerned?
with the initiative roll.
Did it walk through and look unconcerned at us, or did it walk through looking threatening?
It has its axe raised, and it looks like it's like almost charged through whatever,
Right.
It's not.
And of course, they're going before me. Great.
It's not kind of just meandering around,
Don't worry, Palkas, we can see it.
true. Let's get Lulu on
Not
the
for
board
long.
as well.
Let's see if I can whip up a nice fog spell by accident.
Accidental fog.
Give this
Fog
Minotaur.
happens.
Give the Minotaur as much cover as it can muster.
Alright,
So I can kill this easier.
so Thorn, this seems appropriate because you mentioned you were notching an arrow and you are top of the round.
Excellent. I mean, all he's done so far is step through a wall, but let's be honest, I've shot people for far less than that.
Okay.
Entirely too true.
As usual, the third one will be the one that has the potential bonus damage attached.
Okay. That first one actually misses. The second one hits. And the third one hits.
Okay, so at least we know we've got to get at least a 15 to hit.
Nice.
So 20%. Okay. Yeah, he has a couple of arrows sticking out of him and is bleeding ichor.
Bleeding ichor, like a demon.
Almost like a demon.
Oh.
Great.
Alright.
Yay.
Palkas, I think.
Minotaur.
And he's kind of like, he's snorting, quite heavily, as
There
he
might have been a
steps through.
moo when he got hit.
Yeah, and a kind of a grunt. So Palkas, you hear twang, 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 from the...
I just want to know, how did I become the person that goes second?
My Foley skills. Unmatched.
How did I get to go second? This doesn't...
Everybody rolled low. Except for Thorn.
He's actually going to hold back from charging in until after Coyra does. So I guess I realize that you can't really hold an action. He's not really going to do anything except move, but only after Coyra does. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Because he wants to still maintain a distance.
But you can't. Yeah, but you can't hold your movement.
That's what I wanted to know, if I could.
But you can surely you can hold your bonus movement, which would be your action.
Right. I mean, I would be using my movement kind of as an action in a way. I mean, I'm doing nothing else, just movement. Would be that.
Okay.
So that's
all right.
Okay.
Sure. All right. So you're holding your dash or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. All right. It is their turn, and this guy here who has emerged, sees you, and rushes right in, Grimm. And he has his battle axe kind of raised, his great axe raised, and he's he actually kind of like, he takes this stance. It's almost, I mean, the movement is actually very fluid. Like he's coming out of this rippling wall and just moving straight towards you. There's no kind of pause.
And note she said their turn, not his turn.
Yeah.
I mean, well, now you mention it. Stepping out, he does bring a couple of friends with him.
Ask and ye shall receive.
I didn't ask. I didn't want.
Mm-hmm.
And you shall receive.
You don't have to.
And
I still received.
Yeah.
And these guys come barreling through the wall, the rippling wall, and this guy is just going to charge at you, Thorn. That one. Alright, so these guys, these two, this one and this one, both get attacks. And my ear is whistling. Why are you doing that? So they kind of lower their heads at the last moment, and that one misses Thorn. And 19 to hit you, Grimm. Does that hit?
No, my AC of 18 makes it totally invalid.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the other way around, isn't it? It's below 18 hits, right?
Yeah, isn't that the way AC works? It's been a while. I can't remember.
It
Yeah,
has
it
been
is.
too long.
Okay. So he does. Hang on. He
And he
does.
charged.
Yeah, he did charge. So he does
This is
23
gonna hurt.
piercing damage.
How much?
23.
Okay, there goes about half my hit points.
I could step forward and take out the other half.
And that's the turn. Coyra.
Coyra moves up to see what's happening, tells the scorpions to also just move up. They can only move 10 feet. Upon seeing the Minotaurs, Coyra tells the scorpions to attack. And Coyra herself uses her Thorn Whip. If I can find it. Right here. On this one.
Okay.
Does that hit?
It does.
And I'm not pulling him in.
Okay.
I don't want to be squished.
Maybe you could,
Malvola also does not want to be. Hi, how you doing?
plugged in the doorway and then, just keep
Could
slamming
use
the
some
door.
deodorant, Minotaur guy.
Close encounters of the bovine kind.
Although, now that you mention it, there's a door, he could be stuck in there.
It's only one way to find out.
Yep.
Right, Grimm, on to you.
Okay. For my initial attack, jeez. My extra attack
Yep, that hits.
for a whopping 7 points of slashing damage. And then because ow, that hurt, I'm going to burn a key point and do patient defense.
Okay.
Which now any further attacks they make against me have disadvantage.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Because ow.
Yeah, that was a good response to that.
Did you have any bonus? Or the extra attack is your bonus? I forget.
Doing patient defense is
Oh.
my bonus action.
Okay, yep. Thank you. Alright, Lulu
Yeah.
moves up.
Ends my turn because I'm not moving and giving them an opportunity.
Okay. Lulu moves up behind you, Malvola, but is not going to do anything at the moment, so it is your turn, Malvola.
The old standby.
Tentacles! Oh no.
Eldritch Boom.
No.
You just need to push older Ravenguard out of the way and say goodbye to Grimm.
Yep, that's
Ooh,
going to hit.
That's a good boop.
That's a good boop. Are you booping this guy here?
That's a very forceful
The
boop.
one attacking Thorn.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I figure I can't really see the other ones now because he's blocking the passage.
Fair enough.
And the second shot.
That also hits. Looks a lordy +7 on that. Okay. Right. You staying where you're at?
That's all I've got.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Thorn.
Drop the bow, take out my rapier, start stabbing instead. And while I'm doing so, I'll give a shout to Grimm to try to get the helmet off Ravenguard's head.
I've got bigger concerns at the moment. Literally bigger.
I mean, if you can snap him out of it, he'd be a good ally.
The first one hits.
The way he's clawing at it, I'm not sure it will come off.
You just need to use your +2 katana, right? You just kind of.
I off about here.
You take off the rest of his body, right? Detach it from.
Yeah. That's how that works, right?
Alright. You staying where you're at?
Yeah.
Okay. Palkas.
Is that... No, that's half as much damage. I don't want to do that. Okay. So I think Palkas is gonna attempt to do some fancy stuff. Could be bad, could be good. We'll find out, I guess. That's a bonus action, so he could do that one without spending extra. Yeah, he might do that. So he's going to do snap to center. Move here, there. 25 feet. And then he's got a little bit of extra feet where he can move back.
He's like doing the waltz in the hallway.
I'm just planning out his entire movement. So
One, two, three,
he's going to
one,
move
two.
up here. And he's going to take a swing, saying, boom. But wait a second. This, I think. Okay. He will take a swing with the booming blade. And say, boom. Maul +1. Nat 20.
Nice.
Wow.
He's a half orc. This is genius. Okay. Which means that he gets savage attacks. Let's click that. So let's see. The damage for the maul is 8 + 6.
I do not approve.
And then I don't even have one on here for that because I wasn't expecting it. All right, so it's, what is it? A extra d6. So 1d6 plus an extra 4. That's from the maul.
Okay.
And then
He's not looking so good.
he casts a spell.
Oh boy.
It's a full-on spell.
Uh-oh.
It is Mind Thrust. Yeah, I know, he's right next to people. He doesn't learn.
It's fine.
You
But
say it's fine. No, it's not.
it's a bonus action spell, so this is how he's able to get it in at the same time.
Oh, intelligence. How
Yeah.
smart do you think a Minotaur?
I'm hoping they're not that bright. Then he's going to move back.
Yeah, terribly not smart.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, we've run into the genius Minotaurs.
Okay, so he takes 7 psychic damage and he can only dash or disengage. That is so rude. Do you understand how rude that is to a Minotaur?
Yes,
to
I and then he
Swinging
retreats.
Great
And,
axe is his religion, alright.
and that is, and that's this is the way, and that's his turn.
Nice turn.
So wait, it says he can only dash / disengage? So he could disengage and move, right?
You can only let me actually bring up the exact wording on it. Hold on. Mind Thrust.
You know what though, he's not that smart.
Can use its action only to dash or disengage on its next turn.
Okay. Alright, and you're done with your turn, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, onto the Minotaur's turn. Only to dash or disengage. Alright, he
Sorry, Grimm. All I saw was a giant minotaur blocking our path.
he's mostly dead. Like one good hit and he'd be finished. You can see him bleeding from many wounds.
Talking about the Minotaur or Grimm?
Both. Let's go for both. We could be greedy.
Bonus round. Yay!
He's not that smart. He's gonna move over here. So
Booming
Thorn.
blade.
Yep.
So is he disengaging?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want to do your booming blade?
Okie
Because he just
dokie.
moved. I hate that spell.
It's a cantrip too. That's the one.
I actually love that spell. For now. Until it gets used against
There you go.
me.
Oh god.
Never saw it coming. Alright.
Roast beef.
It's a good combo. It's a good combo.
It's a great combo. I did like fried beef, wasn't it?
Yeah, suddenly you're really hungry. It smells like barbecue. It's like, as soon as you get past the like burnt hair smell, then it's like, oh. Okay, so this guy, we're going to deal with the other guy last. This guy is going to attack you, Grimm. He swings his great axe.
At disadvantage.
And misses.
Yay.
I'm shocked.
I mean, you just saw his buddy die.
Patient defense can be a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy, I'm afraid, is going to take advantage of the opening
Yeah.
and move in with a charge.
Yep.
His
Ooh,
charge card.
20. He rolled a 25 to hit.
Ow.
That'll do it.
So he does 21 piercing damage with his charge.
I need to mark off a spell.
I still have some hit points left.
Okay. And
Almost double digits.
that's their turn.
Before Coyra does anything, she just tells Palkas and Malvola to give her some room. I don't want to squish you. So she's gonna hold her action until she can wild shape into a giant constrictor snake.
Oh,
But
very
she's
cool.
holding that
Very
action
nice.
for when they're out of the way so they don't get squished.
Okay.
Okay.
Upon mentioning that, you see the scorpions just turn into light particles and vanish.
Okay. Very cool.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
As I feel like transforming into an animal takes concentration, and the conjure animals also takes concentration.
That's I mean, I'm trying to think if you'd be able to maintain it. I mean, it's up to you, right? Like however you want
I
to.
feel like transforming would take concentration. Maybe
Okay.
after you could maintain it, but during the transformation, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like, haha, I'm not. But
Yeah,
at
that's
least
cool.
that's how I imagine it.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds cool. Right. Then Grimm, it is your turn.
It's time to become a butcher.
I hope so.
He looks like he's about medium.
Medium rare.
That's my attack,
That hits.
my extra attack,
That hits.
and my bonus action.
That does not.
So 22 points of slashing damage.
Okay. He's not looking so good.
Magic slash.
And you're staying where you're
And
at?
of course, this time, yeah. Only this time they won't have disadvantage.
Okay. Alright. Lulu is not going to trumpet. She feels like there are too many people in the way. So Malvola, it is your turn.
Malvola?
Well, he's counting.
Yeah.
And measuring.
He's trying to figure out how to get out of the way and also do stuff.
Well, you can do stuff first and then step.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to boop the Minotaur that's attacking Thorn.
It's a good choice.
Or not.
That one does. To boop or not to boop? Okay.
That is the
So
question.
the first one was a boop against the one that's down to make sure it's dead.
Double tap.
Make sure it's not playing dead.
Okay.
And then I will move over here to give Coyra room.
Okay. Sounds good. And Thorn?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit woozy after that charge, but on the stabbing, I guess.
The stabbing.
Yep, those both hit. Wow,
That's a lot of stabbing.
that hurts.
Welcome to the stabbing part 2.
The sequel. And you stay in there?
Martial art is called Half Dead Master. Yeah, I'll stay where I am.
Okay. Palkas?
Things about to get tight there.
Palkas is gonna do a boom and then withdraw.
Do a boom.
Yep, he's gonna do a boom. He's gonna move up here. Then he's gonna move back here to there.
Okay.
Excuse me. So let's have him move forward, and he'll do a booming blade. Boom. And that was the spell, not the. That's the damage. Hold on a second. Let me click the right thing. Maul +1. Does it hit? Yes, it does. And the damage from Maul is 7.
Okay.
If it moves, there's your damage for the booming blade. Otherwise, he retreats. Hui.
Upon getting enough room, Coyra transforms into a giant snake.
Okay. Awesome. So
Can you make my icon take that thing? Yeah, it's a huge beast, so I think the icon. Yeah. Definitely not an excuse to show blue art.
I was just thinking about a giant bubble pipe. How amazing that would be. Like Lulu could actually get trapped in one of the bubbles and be like floating around.
That's a lot of snake.
Constrictor snake.
Nice. Alright, then it is the Minotaur's turn. This guy is gonna swing at you again, Grimm, with his great axe. And he rolls, I think he just meets it 'cause he rolled an 18 to hit.
Of course he did. That hits.
And he does 19 slashing damage.
Oh!
He rolled, yeah. On one of the rolls, he got maximum.
Oh. Boy, Grimm, when we said we needed a meat shield, I wasn't actually meaning.
And then
you
this
needed
guy...
to get hit by everything.
Well, you didn't specify whether you wanted steak or hamburger.
Oh.
This guy misses with an 11 to hit Thorn.
That's a relief.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Alright. Giant snake Coyra!
There we go.
It confirms what I was planning on doing this next turn.
Giant milk
Question:
burp.
How does melee weapon attack +6 work again? I can't
1d20 +6.
Thank you. Reach 10 feet, reach 5 feet.
Oh, you can reach 10 feet?
Yes.
So you could move up to Thorn and reach over him.
Yeah, but not with the attack that I want.
Oh.
The attack that I want is like this. Oh well, I'll have to make the best of it. Coyra completely blocking the door. It's like bits of snake in one room and the other. And she goes like Palkas just said, over Thorn and tries to bite the Minotaur.
Nice.
Roll 1d20 +6, right?
Yeah.
She's still getting used to being a snake.
How does this...
And she just moves her head back like, nope.
Alright. Grimm.
Okay. To increase the odds of survival this next round, for my bonus action, I'm going to shift, which gives me 8 temporary hit points. And for my action, I'm going to heal myself for 8 points.
Okay.
And that ends my turn.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because if I didn't do that, I probably definitely would have been down next turn. I still might be.
Anytime the heal gets...
And yeah, I'm
casted.
staying there because attack of opportunity, I can't afford it.
Yeah,
Anytime a cure once gets Donna, I just imagine someone going like, boop.
By the way, Nabi, the amount of times that I've heard you say that now, I think next feat option, you should really take mobility.
It's a good thing. Alright, Lulu's not doing
Well,
anything.
see, the problem is I could take mobility, or I could take stat increase in like wisdom or dexterity. Stat increases my AC.
Okay.
So it's kind of one of those, which do I want more?
Mm-hmm.
I like not being there to even offer them the attack on an AC. But I'm a squishy, so...
Palkas prefers Loping out of there.
Yes.
Malvola, it's your turn.
Good luck.
Coyra, make a hole.
Snake just kind of coils in the big opening.
That hits.
It worked.
That doesn't.
Boo.
It's tricky shooting round a snake.
Mm-hmm.
No, especially when the snake is like mostly the door.
Trick snake shots.
Okay.
That's pretty much all I'm...
Alright. Thorn,
It is-
you've got giant snake to the left of you, Minotaur to the right. Minotaur to the right. Even.
And even if you wanted to move, you can't.
Yeah, you can move through friendly spaces.
Hey, really quick, you know that the snake is friendly. She didn't bite you. Just
But
trying to
Minotaur
prevent
now.
any stabs.
She's
Or
giving you
snake
You
bites,
think
they
she was
swallow
aiming
you.
for the Minotaur?
Just making sure.
Even for Thorn's adult perceptions, this is a bit much.
Stab. I think it's Thorns.
I mean, random animal, druid, it's pretty safe.
That hits.
We're all like waiting with
So
bated
does
breath. Is it enough? Is he gonna live another round?
Yes, he is. But he's mostly dead. Got like one hit left. One more hit and he'd be done.
She says that, but the hit could have to generate like 60 hit points of damage or something for all we
I mean, knowing my luck, the next hit will be 1 damage.
Yeah.
Still alive. Something like that.
I'm sure Fireball will take it out.
Yeah, speaking of fireballs.
Yeah.
Palkas! It's your turn!
Maybe that's what I should go by, fireball. Can I move through Coyra's space, considering she's in a doorway?
Yes. I mean, you can always move through friendly spaces, right?
Then
It's kind of-
Be a
Palkas,
little tight.
Palkas rushes forward. And that's 25.
Might be difficult terrain for those 10 feet. Trying Dukes of Hazzard over a giant constrictor.
Realizing that he's not going to be able to get back out.
Don't
So
strategically withdraw this time.
he charges in and he yells boom as he swings the maul.
Okay,
And
that hits.
just barely. It was taking so long I clicked it. There it is. Okay. 10 magic bludgeoning.
It's not.
It's not showing up.
Oh, there it
Oh,
is.
There it is.
It took a sweet time getting there. Alright, yes, you finish him.
Yay! And it activates the thunderous boom as it drops to the ground because it moved. So,
Right, okay.
he
So
then
double dice.
So it twitches a little bit on the ground while electrical energy surges.
Anybody else feel the sudden desire for a hamburger or steak?
So he's actually going to move forward and around the corner here.
What's going on? Alright.
The rest of the way. I'm just measuring his
Okay.
full movement. So
Alright.
he's going to move around the corner. And then he sees what's going on over there and decides to try and use a bonus action spell. You're a decent distance away. We'll see. Give it a moment.
Nick, I can survive something, hopefully.
So he's going to try and
Get
use
shot.
Let's see that giant
Oh yeah.
breath weapon. What? No, I'm
Who
kidding.
did that?
He's gonna cast
player
catapult at
inspiration.
level 3. So he opens up the bag. Out comes a dagger and shoots at him.
Okay.
In fact, I'll say 2 daggers because he's raising the level of the spell. 2 daggers shoot out at him because he can actually lift a lot more weight than he could before.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. And we'll do this
For inspiration and the bits.
core. Indeed.
Oh my god, those bits are adorable.
But he catapults the daggers, which I think this
Wait,
might do
Does that
3d.
mean Kashcah has 2 inspiration points now?
No,
No,
a player
that's for
can-
player.
Don't remind her of that. Come
Oh,
on.
it's me. Oh, look at that. Oh, I get to choose the level. Excellent. It is level 3 that I am casting this spell at.
Oh.
Dexterity. Oh, I roll a natural. I roll 2 1s for the main damage,
All right.
but
so he
the
needs
bonus
to make a dex.
damage is 15.
Jesus. All right. Hello. Oh, he rolled a nat 20 on his dex save. Sorry. So is it half? No, because it's a.
No, it gets up away on the deck save, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because it's
So
not like an area.
this is a complete miss then. He takes
Okay.
no damage,
No dice.
and the spell is lost.
Unless you.
Unless,
Right.
how
No,
does
no, no.
inspiration work? We have
No,
yet to
because
discuss.
it was my dex save that got the nat 20, not your low roll. But
Okay.
if he had failed, you could have added your inspiration to your bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, either way, he tried shooting 2 daggers, which I'll take off my inventory.
He rolled a 3
They're
on his
smashed.
wild magic.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, no worries. It's
Thank
close. It's close.
Too close.
But he'll also roar a challenge at the Minotaur, saying,
You
"Come
smell.
on, wuss!" But he'll use a lot more profane language.
Okay. Wow, Palkas swearing. Gosh.
Wow.
So you're shouting at the Minotaur, trying to provoke him?
Yes.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Make a intimidation check.
I think I have built-in proficiency with that, so I will try it. There you go.
Oh.
Wow.
Alright, Minotaur takes the bait and is going to kind of like leaps over Ulder in a charge to you. So, Grimm, you get an attack of opportunity.
He's like my favorite kind of attack.
Or not.
He just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Alright, so he's
Wow.
going to. He rolled a 20 to hit you, Palkas.
Ow.
What is this?
that does nothing.
Yeah, because that would only up your armor cost to what, 15?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Which I wouldn't have even spent it. I didn't know that. I was expecting you to potentially roll lower, but so never
Unless you
mind.
used inspiration.
That's true. What do I get for inspiration cost?
In addition to the shield.
Wait, what? No, that's not how that works. Inspiration is
adding
like.
No, it's fine.
The inspiration to the shield spell.
How is inspiration working? Is it going to be a bonus
It's like
to
bardic inspiration.
It's like bardic inspiration.
Yeah.
Okay. Which kind of bard?
Oh my god.
Like to hit rolls and stuff and saves?
Yes.
Okay,
like,
nothing like bonus
to hit
damage, right?
rolls.
Okay.
Wait, no, you do get it on damage as well, don't you?
That was a specific kind of bardic ability that was the kind of bard I was playing before.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, that's all right.
So you take 24 piercing damage from his charge gore attack
Okay.
as he watches Palkas just gets skewered on this Minotaur's horns.
But he's still like wailing away.
Alright, and that's their turn. Thank you, Barry. Coyra. Giant snake Coyra.
Upon seeing yet another Minotaur appear out of nowhere, Coyra moves over to those Minotaur bodies and tries to constrict this guy.
Nice.
That's roll 20, no, slash roll d20 plus 6.
Oh, that hits.
Nice.
Then it says hit 2d8 plus 4, so I guess that's slash roll d 2d8, right?
Yep.
Plus
As
4.
Coyra gives the Minotaur a big hug.
Indeed. And the escape DC is 16. He's now currently
Okay.
grappled.
Alright, so he takes
Awesome.
10
That's bludgeoning damage.
bludgeoning damage. He's like, he's barely even alive.
He's gonna be cold cut soon.
And he fails his strength save
So he's
so
stuck.
he is stuck.
What does grappled do exactly again? I
Their
forgot.
speed becomes 0, and it can't benefit
Okay.
from any bonus to its speed. The condition ends if
Okay.
the grappler is incapacitated, and the condition also ends if an effect removes the grapple creature from the reach. So basically, it can't get away. It's stuck there.
Okay.
It can still do
That
everything else,
means
though.
Attacks get advantage to that.
No.
No?
Nope.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Grim.
Now for a little bit of craziness.
Try not to
I'm going
hit
to
snake
use the-
grounded.
Minotaur that's between the fallen Minotaur as kind of a springboard to jump up on top of the snake, squeezing the Minotaur.
Got a totally epic moment here.
Oh.
And attack Minotaur's head.
Yes!
So you're just like
Beautiful.
vaulting up over
Basically, use the Minotaur, the fallen Minotaur as a springboard to jump, help assist the jump, land on top of Coyra's
Snake.
constrictor body, and stab it through the brain pan.
the yeah, and you finish it in extreme style.
Gotta do some flair before I
Yeah.
fall.
Before you pass out.
Ow.
Yeah, so Coyra, the Minotaur's body just kind of goes limp in your
Limp.
coils.
Yep.
There's no
so
fight left in it.
Your hug buddy is done hugging.
I release it.
Okay.
I don't like the pillow.
All right.
And Grimm prays it doesn't fall on top of it.
Yeah, it kind of slumps in the middle of Coyra's coils, and you can kind of move aside. All right. So I'm gonna clear turn order.
Phew.
And
Is the wall still rippling?
it is not at the moment. Seems to have calmed once again.
Minotaur wall ripples. Okay. Is anybody about to pass out? I guess we should know. Mr. Temporary hit points?
I'll use my last first level spell to heal myself. Another
Okay.
8.
I mean, people who are bleeding are everybody except Malvola and Coyra, I think, and Lulu.
Palkas is fine. He's good. Okay. Meanwhile, Mr. Gibberish is still going on, right?
Yep.
Palkas' first concern is to move over here and feel if there is an actual wall, or if there are more ripples, or what.
Okay.
Coyra just moved over to give room for others to move.
Hoping that there won't be anything else coming out, I'm going to shift back.
Okay. And the wall seems to be solid, Palkas.
Okay. Allow me to remove the ripples then. Bloop. Palka says, it's solid. I think whatever portal they came through is closed.
That's good.
Is everyone alright? He says, Obviously, he needs help. He motions to Ulder.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a go at yanking his headpiece off.
Okay. Yeah, it seems stuck completely. Like,
Is it possible to actually lift him up by the neck by it?
I mean, you think you might damage him?
This is the guy we're supposed to save, remember?
Not stab.
I haven't stabbed him with anything.
Yet?
Not even
No,
a
you-
needle.
No, you're just trying to rip his head off.
And it seems as you're kind of like trying to pry his helm off his head, he's also like clawing at it, and it's almost like he's having a conversation with himself in two different languages.
Is he combative towards Thorn trying to take the helmet off of?
Seems fairly oblivious, actually.
So I know either of the
Probably the
languages.
best possible outcome,
Yeah,
other than getting it
totally.
off of it.
Yeah.
But no, none of you recognize either of the languages.
Palkas says, Malvola, perhaps we can figure out if this is magically held in place, or what's keeping it from coming off as it should. Can
I what?
Basically what I'm saying is, Palkas would like to make an Arcana check. He's hoping Malvola would join him in this.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I mean, maybe also a religion check from somebody who knows about religious helmets.
Sure, I'll try one.
Okay.
If anyone figures it out, I'm pretty sure that was Vallen.
Well, maybe it's not even magic. This might not have any bearing on it, but still.
It definitely wasn't me.
So you're not sure why the helm is not coming off his head exactly, but it does seem to be like you think you recognize the languages. While you don't understand the words that he's saying, you think you recognize the languages as being celestial and abyssal. And you kind of like, just based on that, it seems, especially with your nat 20, you think that there's some kind of psychic struggle taking place within Ulder Ravenguard's mind, between some kind of higher divine powers or demonic entities.
Doesn't Lulu
alright.
speak Celestial?
Lulu does speak Celestial, yes.
Palkas would actually say out loud, I recognize the languages, but I don't know the words. It's a mixture of celestial and... what was it again? Abyssal.
Yeah.
But he also seems to be of multiple minds. From what I'm able to determine, he's fighting against... I don't understand. I think this is beyond our ability.
Yeah, you're pretty sure that this is not going to be resolved with a simple spell.
This will not be resolved by a simple spell.
Bear with me a moment, but what if we knock him out?
Well, I would suggest a blow to the head, but I don't know what that might do to him in his current state.
Or we could just clamp his arteries shut. Like a garrote, only without the sharpness.
Are you
Or
thinking so we
sleeper
can...
hold, kind of.
Are you thinking just so we can take him around quietly?
We do have someone who is
Oh, there's no purpose.
superbly equipped for such a thing at the moment.
It's true. Squeezing somebody into unconsciousness.
Alex is like, ooh.
Also, Coyra could also give him a ride.
Yeah.
Just lay
I
him on
was
his
actually
knee.
kind of thinking that, like, do you mind,
Absolutely not. That's why she already moved closer. Just actually hop, mother,
As a
go.
as a quick reminder, there are, as you're kind of moving through the water, there are a few dead bodies in the way beyond the Minotaurs.
Okay. Palkas would
I don't know if
call,
anybody cares about them.
would
but-
call Lulu over and say, "Do you know anything about this?" And he kind of motions to all of him.
What, all of Ulder Ravenguard?
Yes.
She speaks telepathically to you and says, well, I can understand parts of what he's saying, but it's almost like it's not him that's speaking, she says.
Then who?
She says, my guess is that the celestial that he is speaking is actually a voice for Thorn.
He's speaking. Lulu says, "She." He looks at Lulu questioningly, kind of motioning
Lulu's
towards
like, yeah.
her. Excuse me. Is suggesting that Ulder Ravenguard's celestial speak is speaking of through Torm. Does anyone speak Abyssal?
Coyra just hisses.
Palkas starts looking around to see if any of the bodies
Well,
that
does
are like
kinda sound like Abyssal.
laying around might actually be alive or anything like that. He starts poking them with his maul and checking them out.
No, they're
I
definitely
am
dead.
gonna try and fish the other people out of the pond and put them onto the
Okay. Yeah, you can easily do that. They're heavy, but they're very dead.
That's rather heavy.
Just a little bit waterlogged.
Does it look like these might have been his escorts mixed in with some
Absolutely.
demons?
Yep. They're wearing the same kind of and actually you would notice on Ulder Ravenguard, he's wearing plate armor and it has the emblem of the flaming fist kind of emblazoned on his pauldron or something like that. And you would see the same emblem on the other guards that are there.
Okay. Palka says, "This is beyond me to understand."
Yeah, I have a feeling that we need someone more specifically
Specialized.
qualified for this, because I don't deal with demons.
I don't think this city has a readily available 24/7 clergy.
There's the priest
There
back in
is.
High Hall.
What's his name that's in this, that didn't want to let us in the building?
I don't know if I'd trust him to
Yeah.
do anything.
I think we should.
I don't think he's exactly a priest anymore.
If we can, I think we should hide Ulder Ravenguard from him, if anything.
You're right. You don't even need to knock him out. You can just eat him.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love that.
Palkas
We can let Torm and whatever devil demon it is continue having a little fight for his head. And
I mean, I'm not a poisonous snake, so
Coyra can just keep him
Yeah,
in a mouth or something.
yeah, and just spit him back up later.
Palkas walks over to Thorn, puts his hand on his shoulder, and says, "You've changed."
a slight smile on Coyra's face, like
Can't you just put him in a
Snakehead.
coil of yours, perhaps, instead of devouring the man by accident?
It's not by accident.
you just see Coyra's head drop a little bit, like fine.
Snake eyes rolling.
Oh, God.
A little
I would
hit
like
and
to-
Palkas like
I would like to check the the human corpses for anything useful.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So they have some general kind of equipment on them. They have some armor. They're carrying long swords and have shields. But they do also have one of them has a tube that you keep like spell scrolls in.
I would definitely be snagging that.
Okay, yeah. You can feel water sloshing around in it as you kind of pick it off his body. It's like
So much for the royal toilet paper tube.
I'll just dry it out. It'll be fine.
I will uncap the scroll case and pour it out. and-
Oh. It's actually a really big healing potion. Come on.
yeah, it's just
Depends where he drops it out in the water. Maybe it becomes one-time healing pool.
Yep, you can dump the liquid out that's inside.
Sorry.
Are there? Is there stuff inside
Hmm.
the?
There are 3 bits of paper.
I'm going to leave them there because I have a feel. Because wet paper is not exactly something that I consider sturdy.
Okay.
What kind of armor did they have?
It's one guy has the guy that had the spell scroll tube thing on him just has leather armor, and then the other 2 have chain.
Okay.
So they
What
were
do you
level
mean
1
by leave
fighters.
them there?
Hmm?
The bits of paper.
In the
Leave them
trade.
in the tube.
Okay. I wasn't when you said that. I wasn't sure exactly what you meant. So I take it we're doing what with Ulder?
The way I understood it, Coyra was going to grapple him and escort him out of the.
Yep.
Are we taking him back to the villagers?
Well, there is a priest with the people at High Hall
Hmm.
Can't we use our
and a druid.
get out of hell freestone and say, we've got him, come and get us?
We could do that.
But you don't know what happens, what that helm is, and what's going on exactly. Maybe it squishes him.
Yeah, maybe the helmet actually is a scrying device. Maybe bad things. I think we should try and get it off him first.
I think worse. How could it be worse? Jehovah, Jehovah!
Well, perhaps that clergy person can break the curse on here if it is such a thing.
Sorry, I've got very limited knowledge on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about relics like this, so
So
I don't see any other options at this point besides going back as is, like, or using the summoning stone. But I really don't think that's a good idea just now. Until we get this helmet off of him, then go. Because if he's messed up,
at the very least, I say we take him back to High Hall and figure it out from there.
yeah, and then we can always use the sending stones there.
Keep in mind, Coyra has the sending stone over, so
Just
that's another
a
slide
little
we should not plan.
Yeah.
little Bizzle.
Lulu says, Lulu will say to Grimm as well, she'll say, also, we don't know if that portal is truly closed. Maybe we should not hang around to find out?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I've had my fill of Minotaurs for the day.
Palkas says, good point. And he casts Shape Water, and he lifts it up in a shimmering like sheet over top of it, and freezes it in place. And says, at the very least, we might hear something come through behind us.
It's like the broken light bulb trick in horror movies.
Well, then he also puts he freezes the surface of the water as we leave the area too.
I can just see Minotaurs coming through. Whoa, 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 whoa. Just completely falling on their butts.
Yeah, somehow I don't think hooves are great for walking up.
What would be? How deep is this? Is this like
It's only
knee deep?
It's only like a foot deep.
Yeah, and I was just talking about putting like a thin layer of ice so that they at least crash through it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is like into the drain.
Just a way to make noise. Well,
in which case, I'm going to start heading back.
Let's go.
So you're kind of lifting. So Coyra, you're carrying Ulder.
Coyra.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Coyra.
Coyra.
I should have been the Cobra, then it was Cobra.
Palkas will just kind of like motion at Ulder and be like, after you. No. Bad snake Coyra.
She tried. She like torn splat a little bit too.
Sorry, there's no room for you to ride on top with Ulder, but Coyra's got plenty of room on the inside. How long can you hold your breath?
Coyra picks up all the Ravenguard and is ready to go. She looks at Palkas in a way like, do you go first?
And he's still holding his hand out like ladies first type style, you know.
It's just like Captain Beaky, isn't it? Alright, anyway.
So did the Minotaurs actually have
this hollow
weapons?
stick?
Or were they just the horns and fists?
Sorry,
Did the Minotaurs
Well, they
actually
had the
have
great
weapons?
Yeah, they did have great axes.
Alright. And did it look like the humans actually had swords, or
Yes,
like
two
they
of them
were
did.
using the swords before?
Yes,
Would
two.
be a bad defense team if they haven't.
Palkas
Yeah.
takes one of the swords, looking to find one that might fit older Ravenguard's scabbard if he's got
Oh
one on
no,
him.
he had. So you see, actually, Ulder has a sword already in a scabbard at his side,
Okay, then he's not bothering.
and he also has a shield on his back.
That's good. That gives him a +2 to surprise on the back. That's great.
See, a nom would not have been that bad.
Talk
He
to me
has a
about gnomes.
shield, it's fine.
I had a question about how are the walls in this room decorated, or is it just?
No, there are decorations on the walls. Hang
There are minotaurs.
on. I thought there were. Hang on. Wondrous frescoes along the wall depict souls gaining the blessings from Lathander, Torm, Helm, and Tyr.
Okay.
So they're all painted. Fancy paintings.
Okay, let's go. Lock the door on the way out.
Alright, so yes, Ulder is.
Palkas would like to remain a constant 15 feet away from the last person if possible.
Okay.
Ever since he fireballed, he doesn't want to be too close to the heart of the party anymore. He wants to follow at a safe distance. He's trying to self-isolate. So
Why do you think Grimm
Thumbs
tends
up.
to wander so far ahead?
before he leaves, he washes his hands. No, it's
In the water.
Somehow I don't think that water's very sanitary.
See, benefit of being a snake, I don't have to watch my hand.
You're terrible. All right, and then we start heading back out. I don't know who's leading us out, but I'm guessing it's Grimm and Thorn, and it's the same way we came in.
And I'm following whoever.
As we get into this area here, Palkas would actually say, should we rest for a bit?
Oh, the smiley is gone.
I mean, that sounds good.
It seems like a defensible position.
How long can I be a
Yeah.
snake?
That's a good question.
Is the number of hours? Or no, is it 2 hours? I
I
can't
have
remember.
no idea.
Wild
I can never remember that stuff.
Me neither.
Yay!
Wild shape is...
I'm trying to look it up, but roll 20 is slow.
You can stay in B shape for a number of hours equal to half your druid level, rounded down.
So 3 hours.
So we only need to rest for an hour. You still have 2 hours. You then revert to your normal form unless you expend another use of the feature. Now I don't know if you're Circle of the Moon or whatnot. Those might
Yep,
that,
I
might
am.
that might give you more stuff. I don't know what that does.
I'm Circle of the Moon.
Circle of the Moon.
That's why I'm
It
a
does give
snake.
some benefits.
At what level can you turn into a boomkin?
Into a what?
It's a World of Warcraft thing.
I just know I'm the giant snake because I'm Circle of the Moon, so...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. You get to just change into more stuff.
And
Gotcha.
you can change as a bonus action as well.
Yeah,
so that's an
okay.
action.
Okay.
And while you are transformed, you can use a bonus action to expend one spell slot to regain 1d8 hit points.
Okay.
So, shall we rest here, taking up positions at both entrances while we're doing so?
Sounds
That's
good
what
to
everybody
me.
wants to do.
That sounds like a good idea, considering we've put it off in the past and paid for it.
Yep. And now we're on an escort mission.
Coyra is willing to lay in one of the hallways. I mean, seeing a giant snake, I would consider not going in a hallway with a giant snake.
And at least in this particular escort quest, the guy you're escorting cannot aggro on every friggin' thing.
Or so you know that you think.
Moves faster than you can walk, but slower than you.
This is why
He
we've
can't do much, he's grappled.
that's why we've got the snake escort carry. He's being carried. What's your movement speed, Coyra?
30 feet.
Oh, nice. See? Escort mission that she can
Just
keep
like
up.
Coyra.
Yeah. All right. So,
So
short rest.
take a short rest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. In which case, I'm going to take that time to finally attune to the sword,
Hey!
meditating
Okay.
and regaining key points and.
So about 45 minutes into your hour rest,
Oh.
round the corner comes.
Okay, ignore those rolls.
Well, I mean, you may still, depending on what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Round the corner comes your friend, your new friend, maybe, Gideon. So he comes around the corner and sees sees you, Grimm, and says, "What did you find?"
You just hear a
Some
little hiss.
minotaurs.
You can also hear a hiss around the giant snake. Coyra is not being quiet.
And older Ravenguard and some minotaurs coming out of some sort of portal back there.
He says, "Is it closed?"
Seems to be. Minotaurs are dead.
He kind of pushes. Well, he kind of walks past you. Well, he's going to try. I don't know if you want to stop him or if you're.
Well, he doesn't seem to be interfering. If he wants to go play with the portal, go ahead.
I guess.
I don't really like him at this point, so
Yeah, so he's gonna move like this. If anybody wants to do anything while he's gonna move around the room. He sees giant snake Coyra, and
She's just smiling at this.
kind of like immediately gets puts as much distance between you and himself as he can, and he'll kind of like edge around the
Evil
room.
Smile. The
You know.
slight evil smile going on his while watching him. Just focused on him.
So he'll edge around the room like this, right? And he's gonna go kind of like past you, Palkas.
And Palkas is just standing there with the maul down, both hands on top of it right now, and he's just staring at the guy as he walks by, not doing anything other than that.
Okay. Then he makes his way down the steps and round the corner.
Oh shit, Minotaurs!
And
Have fun.
then you cannot see where he is, what he's doing. So.
That was it.
Okay. I know, I didn't stab him. Aren't you proud?
I am. Palkas even says, "I'm proud of you."
Who are you and what did you do with Thorn?
So, do we make it the remaining 15 minutes?
I've
Yeah.
lost a lot of blood, Coyra.
No, that's what it is. Thorn's been possessed.
6. I don't know how many
I
I'm
mean, he's a lot friendlier now.
Oh, sorry.
That's why I'd say it's got to be possession.
Not even the worst demons can be like that. Stab, stab, stab.
Oof. That's 10. 17.
You can hear like some sloshing around
perfect.
in the pool from the other room, and some kind of muttering is going on. In the
You only have a d6?
I'm a sorcerer.
That means absolutely nothing.
he's squishy.
I'm squishy. Spellcasters
know.
tend to have less hit points.
It's
I
squishy
didn't
and
know
tastes
how to
good with
hit dice.
ketchup.
Like, I don't even remember what my hit dice is. Oh, 8.
You're a D8.
Yep, thanks.
Plus, you can turn into things with a lot more hit points. So,
I mean, looking at my current status, yeah, I can see that. Snake with 60 hit points.
Druids are tough to kill,
mm-hmm.
but oh so tasty.
Alright, so anybody doing anything else during
No.
the last 15 minutes? Okay.
Nope.
Was I able to get any of my arrows back from the Minotaur?
Hang on. You shot 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep in mind you can always try to pick up rock ones too, just in case.
Yeah, I will do, but I'm keeping them separately.
Separate, yeah.
You have
Look, Coyra, dead wood.
you have
Whoop.
one whole one available.
Right. Thank you.
I'll try to mend it. Whoop!
You're a snake.
You're a snake. You don't have hands.
I'll try to mend it. Snap! Whoops! Same effect. Different method used.
So your hour has passed. You can still hear muttering and sloshing from the other room.
That's fine.
Which actually, as he first would have entered there, we probably would have heard the crunch of him walking through the ice.
Oh, so you did have ice on top as well as on the wall?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
but it only lasts an hour. So
Okay.
when you hear the sploosh,
Because
Palkas says
he's
time to go.
put his foot through the ice.
Palkas, I happen to have a couple of random daggers carrying around for no good reason. Would you like them for your sack of throwing things?
He opens his bag and just holds it out. And you see that there's more than a dozen daggers on top of a big pile of torches.
I will cheerfully add a couple to the stack.
Okay, it's back up. Jeez. Ooh, not 118. Oh my god. No, just 18. That might put him over weight. A very pointy bag. All right.
Sorry, I'm not going to be your backpack guy.
And there's a gauntlet still in there.
Oh, that's cool.
Buried underneath a bunch of daggers. So Palkas says time to go.
Yep.
Lead on.
And gradually start making way back.
Okay. So you're able to kind of exit this catacomb level without any further interference, and you're back up in the top chapel kind of area. At the top of the stairs, there's still kind of remnants of the battle that was going on earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plan? Are you heading straight out of the chapel? Going back to the cathedral?
Make our way back to High Hall.
High Hall.
I think.
Do you
Well,
want to
we were
check
gonna.
out the eerie misty
I
spot
think we're
in
gonna
the
head out
back
the.
garden.
I know there was that. Yeah, there was an eerie purple mist coming
Yeah,
out of a
actually,
hole
we can-
back there, but
We can switch back to the chapel if we want.
sure. Let's get rid of the
Oh no,
Minotaur.
Coyra shrunk.
Oh.
You're just fitting
Oh,
through
yeah,
a narrower
and this guy
space.
is not
That's all.
Also, that guy's not there.
I mean, we should probably gag Ulder Ravensguard if we're not going to knock him unconscious.
How are you gonna do that? The helmet? Like, how does the helmet
Just-
work? Is it over his face or not?
Well, that's a good question.
I suppose if it is over his mouth, then that's trouble.
It's not over his mouth. No.
We just stuff some socks in there, then it'll be fine.
What are socks?
And Snake Coyra just pass.
They're like cloth gloves for your feet.
Just never want to go
You
near
wear
it.
stuff on your feet?
His
How would you wear
boots.
stuff on your feet?
I don't know. You and I have the same toenail problem.
Palkas says, I break a lot of things. It hurts when I step on sharp objects. So Palkas says, are we heading directly back then?
I thought that was the plan.
Coyra's nodding.
Okay, then yeah.
We might as well, huh?
Thanks, Kashcah, for doing the in-between. But I think that we're going to try and head
Okay.
back to the...
All right, let's go back to the map.
The Nether.
Let's go back to the map.
I mean, El Terrell, of course.
Needs more glowstone.
It's got quite enough of that thing.
And more lava. Actually.
That too.
So you taking the same route back?
I don't see why not. I mean, it's probably the safest route because we've at least cleared it once.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm inclined to agree.
So, yes, we will take the same route back.
Okay.
We will attempt to, at least.
Mhm.
And is somebody going to scout in front? Because I know we've still got that nightmare that we saw.
Yeah, I can scout up front.
Okay.
All right. So you hang on, let me check.
So I guess assume I'm about 50 feet ahead and trying to be stealthy.
Okay.
Probably means stealth.
Oh, that was not stealthy, that was Kitty. That was a super cute meow, too.
Yeah. Yeah, so the one time that you're being all cautious and careful and everything, actually you don't run into any encounters along the way.
That's
I
why.
mean, that's
Yes,
perfect.
intended.
Yeah.
Because we were being stealthy and cautious.
Stealth snake. I'm not just imagining Coyra in a box. A solid snake.
That's a really big box.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine a tiny box as a hat. She's a solid snake.
There needs to be a creature that is just shaped like a box that you can turn
There is a mimic.
Mm-hmm.
Gelatinous
Yeah.
cube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
turn into mimics. I think try that.
All right, so guess.
So you arrive back at High Hall.
Mhm.
Is it less than 2 hours or more than 2?
That's a good
It's
question.
less.
Okay, good.
Yep, so you still
Hooray!
Just making sure that I'm still a snake.
Snake Coyra.
Snakera.
Danger noodle Coyra.
By the power of Snakera.
So back at High Hall, the entrance it doesn't seem to be any changes when you approach the kind of front gates and through the courtyard. It all looks pretty much how you left it.
Okay,
That's good to know.
through the hand.
Here's an interesting question. Is Coyra going to be able to get down the trapdoor?
Sure. At that point, we don't really need her to carry him anymore. So
You can just push him down and then change back.
that's fine.
I mean, snakes are squishy. Humans are also squishy, so
Squish him down.
Mhm.
So are you carrying him downstairs? Or
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of need to pass him through the trapdoor, down the steps, and carry him the rest of the way around the corner. And yeah, there's the same kind of rooms that you passed before. There's the room that looks like it was some kind of grand meeting room with all the fancy chairs and whatnot, and
Mhm.
then into the main kind of one of the main catacomb areas with the two big pools of water, and that's where all the survivors and refugees are kind of huddled. Yeah.
Hearing the survivors in the room that's like down the hall and there's a door and we're about to go in there, occurs to me that would be bad for morale.
Oh, seeing Ulder like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Alright.
leave him back by the tomb of the hero.
That honestly seems like an ideal location. I was just gonna go ahead, let me go get what's her name with the book and bring her here rather than
Oh, okay.
bring him into all of it.
Okay.
Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe even bring her upstairs so we don't have to try to haul him down. Because the fact that Kashcah asked if we were taking that, I have a feeling we're going to be hauling him back up.
I need to stop asking any questions.
So I'm going to
get rare as well, Malvola.
yeah. I can't remember her name. The woman who seems like she was in charge here with
There's a good reason for that.
we never know the name.
It
we
was
didn't ask.
it was mentioned to Rhea. That's why. It wasn't mentioned to the rest of us because none of us bothered to ask.
It sounds like us.
Yeah.
I think I
So
was busy doing a little bit of exploring, but I can't remember.
I feel like there was a perfectly planned thing that we did there, like always. Russian and out.
I have regrets. Palkas was a little too hasty in his rush to try and get the job done, and now is paying the price, the iron price. So
Okay.
So I will go on ahead and find either one that I find first. I will I need Rhea and what's her name.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. So, and everybody else is staying up
We'll
top.
stay with the battle box.
Yeah, Coyra is also staying snake for as long as she can. Or until she has to squeeze through human-sized gaps or so.
Okay.
I mean, we'll just hang out in the tomb with the unknown soldier over it.
So that's
And it's the only things I remember down there is that there was the water source, all the people, and the tomb of the hero. And then we didn't really explore much of anything else. We didn't really explore the tomb of the hero, but we knew where it was.
Yeah,
That's
just hang out there.
What's that?
Grimm went and checked it out. You guys were busy in the other room talking.
so hang on. So you are going downstairs or not?
I thought we were going to wait with Ravenguard and with the unknown hero, or the known hero, whatever it's called.
I thought we were...
Then it was suggested we stayed up.
Well,
Just
that's
in
good.
case we have to carry him down. Up.
Gotcha.
That doesn't matter.
We'll wait at the base of the hand while Malvola goes and finds out where we need
All
to
right.
go.
So in the stairs, kind of down. You wait there, and Malvola, you're going off to get folks. Okay.
I still think we should take him below the ground floor so there's less chance of sudden demon.
Sure. I mean, we can do that while Malvola's gone. We'll slowly,
Lower him through the trapdoor and whatnot.
You see how Shy just wraps tail around neck and just kind of lowers him down.
Like a grappling. I mean, that's a plan we could try.
No, the feet. Lower him by the feet.
So he's upside down. Which will fall out of his pockets.
And you just see him, like, knock. What's too far down?
Down a bit, down. Oh, too much.
Not enough rope left. Bam.
He sees burning out.
I mean, let's be honest, Coyra has not been that very tactical, so it looks like a thing she would do. Whoops.
Okay. So when Malvola, you enter that the area, like the main crypts, there are all the kind of frightened people still there, cowering, in the alcoves and behind sarcophagi and whatnot. And Feria is there tending to them along with Rhea and the druid Seltern as well. So they're all there.
And actually, hearing you mention Seltern, he might even have some input. I don't know. I will, whoever I can. I would probably prioritize Rhea because she's the one that I have any kind of friendship. And kind of quietly, with the intention of not blabbing to the entire room, we found him, there's an issue, and we need to talk privately with her and Self.
So she'll immediately she excuses herself from the folks that she's currently kind of tending to, and she says, I'll be back as soon as I can. And she comes with you as well. And Seltern will kind of shoo her away. He's saying, I've got this. I'll help them. You go and find out what's going on, kind of thing. So he doesn't seem to be particularly interested in coming with.
Okay.
And as you guys are kind of walking away from the folks as well, she will motion to the priest as well. She kind of like makes eye contact with her, like with that kind of sense of urgency in her eyes, and is beckoning her to join you. So the priestess will join you as well.
Excellent. Kind of. So you guys are at the bottom of the stairs under the trapdoor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna lead the two of them back to that location where the rest of the party is, and we found him in the chapel of, what was it called? I don't remember.
Minotaur death.
Yeah.
Purple Pokey Smith.
Apparently found the helmet, put it on, and it appears to have overtaken him.
He's been jabbering back and forth between Abyssal and Celestial.
Palkas says he's of two minds. We can't remove the helmet, and we're not skilled enough to do so.
So Rhea will kind of rush forward. Well, they both do. Rhea kind of rushes forward, and the other woman follows closely after. And the other woman is Rhea seems concerned, but is not sure what to do, and the other woman seems to be kind of closely examining Ulder. She seems to be kind of focusing on the helm, and she says, she asks you what you've tried so far to remove it. Have you, is there anything that
Taking
you've
it
tried?
off of him, like,
Force.
Yes.
by hand, and then
She says, do any of you have any magics that you think would work? Like, any kind of divine spells that might help out here?
Palkas says, I can
that's
only
where we
stop a spell as
tend
it's
to
being cast. I cannot undo one that's already been committed.
I can mark him as my target.
My divine spellcasting ability is really limited.
I don't think anything that I can cast would improve his
That's a fair response. That's probably the safest response you could have come up with.
She says, I don't have any magical abilities. She says, there's nothing I can cast that can help with this. And she's kind of thinking, she stands there.
Is there like a legend to what this helmet is, above and beyond it's supposed to be a way to communicate with Thorn?
She says no. She says, and this, what you're seeing, has never happened to previous people who've worn it. She says, I have not, personally witnessed somebody wearing it before, but in the records that we have, this is not the usual result of somebody wearing the helm.
Palkas has a piece of one of the rations in his hand right now, and he's like eating it, and he says, and I've noticed that these don't taste the same either.
She's like, that's a good point. She says, and she stands thinking for a moment. She says,
please roll high on that think check.
think. She says, the only thing I can think of to try is there is a ritual with prayer that I can attempt to try and free him of this conflict, this psychic conflict that he seems to be trapped in. She says that as it's between Torm and some abyssal monstrosity. She says, I think there's a chance it could work. She says, but I don't know for sure.
Is the abyssal monstrosity part of the helmet as well?
She says, no, this helm is purely Tom's. She says, but as you mentioned, not everything is as it should be in this plane.
Oh,
So-
that's what you meant. Very clever.
What's that?
Oh, that's what you meant. Very clever. Thorn
Let's
says
try-
that, not Tim.
Let's try the ritual.
I have some candles.
Unless there's something in that scroll case you found, Malvola.
I suppose there might be.
Something useful.
I would like the opportunity. I mean, if they're gonna, I don't think there's any harm in let's try the ritual. While that's going on, I will try and
Maybe Palkas could remove the water from the scrolls.
Mm.
that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Basically, I was gonna just try and like lay them out and let them dry and see if they're still viable as magic. I haven't even. They might not. It might just be some dude's notes. For all
Yeah,
we know.
It's a shopping list. Milk, bread, eggs.
10,000 rolls of toilet paper.
Palka says, at the very least, I can use my spell to safely remove it from the tube, seeing as how they're saturated.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, either way, Malvola, do you want to fish him out, or do you want to...
Sure, I will offer the scroll case to Palkas and say, you seem to have the best chance of doing something perfect.
You will try and carefully magic-y hocus pocus these papers, these soggy papers, out of the tube,
Okay.
trying to keep them intact and lay them out individually, if possible, on the ground flat.
All right. Yeah. So, what spell are you going to use for that?
Shape water.
Okay.
Would you like me to click it?
So wait, how are you going to use that to get the scrolls out? I could understand like hoovering the water off.
Well, because they're saturated, I would assume it's just paper. I'm just moving the water, and it's all part of the same thing right now. It's just intermingled. I'm just using it to try and pull them out.
I will say that you can pull the water off the paper, but you can't
All right,
move
I'll
the paper.
pull the water off the paper then.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Tube's dry.
Palkas, the half-work shop vac.
Yeah, so the paper inside now seems to be dry, so you can definitely fish it out easily if you wanted to.
Okay, I will inspect the scrolls to see. I don't know how this works in 5th edition to determine what spells are on the scrolls, if there are.
This one says explosive runes.
Oh no! I have
This one
regrets.
just is Palkas.
Same thing.
Here, Palkas, read this. Way over there.
I read that last week.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would need to make, I think, an Arcana check to see if you recognize the spell.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty low DC. Oh, do you want? Okay.
Would you like some help with that? I could try to give you advantage by.
Well, also you have inspiration.
I do have inspiration.
Should you need it? Should you need it?
Do you want me to just help him, or am I rolling separate?
Well, if you use the action to assist, then Malvola gets the 20. So.
Okay. I was
because
trying not to
assisting
look,
gives you
but
a...
that works. I was just gonna assist him.
Okay, yeah, so between the two of you, you can figure out that they are spell scrolls. One is Mass Healing Word.
Whoa.
That would have come in handy earlier.
Oh, fireball. Mass healing word, I meant. That's what I meant.
Another one is Remove Curse.
Oh.
And another one is Tongues.
That sounds like something Malvola would want to use.
That sounds for a different side.
No, that's tentacles,
Yeah,
not
that's
tongues.
what I was thinking. I mean, maybe D&D is
Okay.
going down that route. I don't know.
You know, you never know.
Remove
Is
curse
there a
sounds
distinction
useful.
between a divine and an arcane spell as a scroll?
One glows green, the other glows blue? I don't know.
I don't know. That's, I
Fine.
mean,
I don't know.
No, I think,
never-
and you can use these. Well, hang on. So, Remove Curse is Warlock friendly.
that works.
Mass Healing Word is not Warlock friendly. And
Is it
Tongues is Warlock friendly because of course it is. I don't make the rules.
See, you would have been able to identify all of them
weird,
except for
like-
Mass Healing Word. Sorry. Had Palkas not been, oh, that's reverse fireball.
Reverse fire.
It sucks in all the flames from around.
Go on, what were you gonna say?
Sorry.
So, as they're, preparing for the ritual that she was going to do, I basically, would this help?
She says, I'm not a spellcaster, I don't know what that is.
One of the part of his entourage had a scroll case, and one of the scrolls is Remove Curse.
She says it might, but I can't cast it. She says, I specialize in exorcisms and possessions. She says, but I'm not a cleric.
Wow.
She's at the right place.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
Let's try her ritual first.
seems
Yeah.
faded.
And then if that doesn't
Yeah.
work, we can try a remove curse spell.
Yeah,
And
I
if
don't
that
think
doesn't
there's
work, we
any
have an issue.
harm in letting her do the ritual, because in worst case, then we try the scroll. But if we try the scroll, then it's gone, and maybe the ritual would have worked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
So what needs to be done for this ritual?
So
We
she
need a young priest and an old priest.
We love each other very much.
We've got a huge basin of holy water, right? So...
and she says, we will need some of that. She says, because the first thing that we need to do, she says, did you see the altar? Not the big one. She says, everybody sees that one. She says, but further back in the cathedral, there's another altar, but she says, I think it needs cleansing. She says, the last time I saw it, it was not in good shape anymore.
It's a bad altar.
Yeah,
Grimm's
that
response would be a
cleansing is
low, angry growl. Yeah, he remembers it.
Do we have some buckets?
I don't know.
Wait.
Does anybody have 3 iron ingots?
I'll just use my last 2 on tears. Sorry.
I have a solution.
You've got a scroll tube that holds water.
No. I'm gonna start heading back upstairs.
Okay.
She's like,
Just leave him. He'll be back in a moment.
okay.
When he's got a thought, he's got to follow it through.
Okay. She says, She says, well, in the meantime, she says, I can start teaching you the prayer because it will be very helpful if we can all recite this prayer to Torm, she says, and the more kind of voices in it, the more powerful it usually is. So she says, hang on a second, and she kind of runs off to the main area of the catacombs and returns with a book, and she shows you the oh, go on, sorry.
The more voices, does that mean if Coyra would transform into a swarm of rats and all the rats just thinking.
And she
If you make it parrots, you could probably actually speak.
Jeez.
Yeah, rats might have difficult enunciating, but yeah, parrots.
Little details.
So she's going to return with this book, and she's showing you the prayer, that needs to be recited. So,
Okay.
she says,
Power of Torm compels you.
exactly.
By the light of Lathander, be gone.
She says, we do need to, it will take probably about a minute, she says, she says maybe less than that, but we need to recite this prayer for maybe like half a minute, to complete it. She said, and she says, oh, and she points at the sword, and she says, and this will be super helpful. And she's pointing at the sword that's resting on that tomb. She says, we can use this holy relic, she says, to also empower our recitation.
What sword on the tomb?
The unknown hero has
the great sword that the unknown hero used to slay the...
Oh, that's okay. Okay. Sorry, I thought she was pointing at Ulder Ravenguard's sword for a minute. I'm like, oh, that's convenient.
Okay, so if we need to cleanse the altar upstairs to do this ritual, that means we've got to get Ulder back upstairs.
She says yes.
That's fine.
Has it been 2 hours yet?
I think you've probably got
Scoops him
like
up
half an hour
and-
left. Oh, maybe a bit less.
No.
I'll try to put him, I'll look at him, put my head down so that they can put him on my head so that I can
This is snake head
Grimm's
rising.
also got a strength of 19 thanks to those gauntlets, so getting him back up isn't all that difficult. Actually, kind of more of a, okay, I'll lift him up, you kind of, I don't know.
I think Palkas doesn't approve of that.
I was just looking to see if
I'm
I
just
could help
thinking,
with catapult,
grab him
you know?
just enough to get him up there.
Coyra has been too eager to eat him for some reason.
The longer you stay as a snake, the more this idea becomes better and better.
Make a constitution save.
See if you can resist.
So, how
Numbing him.
important is he to this story? We just go back to Trex and go, I ate him, sorry.
Whoops.
Yeah, did you find him anywhere?
No idea where he
Okay,
is.
so what has Malvola been up to?
Yeah, you ran off upstairs.
No.
What are you
What
doing?
you
Are they
doing?
coming upstairs?
You do well. Are you guys waiting for him to return before you do anything?
Well, I mean, we only just came to the conclusion that we need to move Ulder Ravenguard upstairs, so we'd be down there for a good 2-3 minutes before we come up. Unless you stick your head back down to tell us what it is you were off to do.
Just come upstairs, please.
Okay. We go back upstairs.
Alright, so after some serious shenanigans, Ulder's gibbering body gets lifted up.
I did not eat him. I want to add to that just in case.
Thank you.
That hopefully Ulder is not aware of.
I mean, Coyra knows how dangerous Palkas can be, so.
I think practically everybody in the party knows that by now.
It can all be dangerous.
Yeah, but I have more respect for Palkas after he almost killed her, so...
Malvola was
Hear
fine.
Palkas
I don't know
say,
what you're all
"Oops."
complaining about.
It's like you've never been fireball before, honestly.
I mean, Coyra had already respect for Palkas, but then just increased it. Like, one
I'll
move
bring that
later
sword
and she
anyway.
can be gone.
Okay. So you're bringing the sword.
So, as they enter the area, the curtained off part around this back, the area is soaking wet. And Malvola has the decanter of endless water in his hand. The gore, the entrails and stuff that was on this altar has been fire hosed away as best as possible.
Okay.
I see them come in through the curtain, and I'm like, it's not yet reconsecrated, but we're significantly closer than we were a minute ago.
Okay.
Could have been mayonnaise.
Yeah, I know, right?
That would
Imagine
not
all
be a good
they could have
altar.
done.
That would not have
I
been a
mean,
good look. No.
Imagine how many times a
Now,
mayonnaise.
what was it that was required? I can't remember. Because I know I tried to reconsecrate it before, but
Well, that was before you knew that holy water was available.
of
So,
course we still haven't used holy water, but
so, the priestess is suggesting that if we splash the altar with holy water, she says, especially now that it's been cleaned so nicely, says if we splash the altar with holy water, then we can bless it as well. Reconsecrate it? Is that a word?
Sure. Sure.
I don't know what 5th edition's particulars are in terms of a priest blessing water.
I think she just told us.
Or,
I
well,
don't,
what's the concern?
I don't know if it would require like a certain level of priesthood or...
Oh, okay. Well, this the water down there is not being blessed by this priestess. It's already it's already holy. Yes.
Well, I'm just wondering if Grimm would be able to bless the water that basically bless the water as it's coming out of the...
Oh.
I don't think
That way we don't have to hold
facing
water up
ability.
from downstairs. I mean, it's not that big, but
To make holy water in 5th edition, you need
hauling water upstairs is a thing.
Yeah.
you need a whole bunch
I saw Kill Bill.
of
That's what
powdered
you do.
silver.
never mind.
Yeah.
We'll just bring some up from downstairs.
All right. So she's gonna grab like some water skins and whatnot, and fill them. She kind of hands them out to you and says, "Let's fill these quickly." And
Palkas says, "I can do that."
then she kind of brings them back upstairs and is liberally sprinkling this holy water over the top of this altar.
And just because I don't know if it'll help or not, kneel down, say a prayer that might or might not do anything.
Well, she definitely seems to appreciate the gesture. Whether or not it makes a difference.
Morality boost.
Yes.
I am a priest, damn it. Sort of.
Okay. So she says, she kind of asks you, have you got the prayer memorized? She says, we all need to recite this prayer. She says, can we lay Ulder on the altar, please?
Hope he doesn't mind being wet.
He was wet when we found him.
It's true. He was in the water already.
You never know. He might blame us, though.
Coyra could have protected him from water, but Palkas didn't allow it.
Well, he would have kind of been moist from a different... Anyway.
Want me to fireball him? I'll dry him off quickly.
So she says, do you all feel comfortable reciting the prayer? Or she says, if you think you can't remember, then it's probably better that you just that you don't participate.
I don't know what kind of
I don't know
skill is
what's
required for this.
It would be so out of game, it's going to be an intelligence check to see if you can remember.
Palkas is not. He's like, these too complex of phrases. I don't understand worship. And...
She says, maybe she says, if you can't recite the prayer, then another option is for you to hold the sword. She says, She says, I have to admit, I have not attempted this ritual before, but my understanding is that whoever's holding the sword, or, this is the relic that we're using in this case, but should be somebody of fairly significant fortitude. She says, my understanding is that it takes some kind of mental fortitude to be the person holding the relic.
I could do that. Palkas volunteers as tribute.
So, Thorn, I know you have the sword. Are you going to give it up to Palkas?
Yes,
Okay.
Excuse me.
All right. So here's how it's gonna. She's kind of positioning people. She's like, you stand here, and you stand here, and you're all kind of. Oh, go on.
Coyra is now transformed back to Coyra.
Okay. All right.
She will do her best to remember the prayer, but she looks a little bit doubtful, just a little bit.
Okay. All right.
She doesn't dare to say it.
Okay.
Palkas is like, so do I just cut the head off, but it's symbolism, or?
She says, just hold the sword, please.
Okay.
Okay.
It actually looks a bit awkward in his hands.
All right. So so you're all kind of standing around this altar now, and she says, whenever you're ready, we can begin.
Sure.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
So she begins reciting the prayer. So anybody who is going to recite the prayer along with her, could you make an intelligence check, please? Not a save, just a check.
It's mid-range.
Okay. So Thorn, you kind of are not quite able to remember the words at one spot, but
He also rolled a save.
yeah, is it the same bonus for your save? Do you want to reroll?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So then you do kind of lose the words at one point. And then the other thing that I need, yeah, exactly.
The power of
who's that guy?
The guy with the armor, and he's he fights a lot, and
so the stabby one, you just go, the power of me.
Blessed be Slothander. What was it? I don't know.
El Nurgle.
And then Palkas, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
And I'm going to use my inspiration. What does that give me?
1d8.
Okay. Actually, here, I'll just do it this way. 16 total.
Okay. So you're fine for the first round.
Oh, shit.
So 4 more rounds to go.
Oh, no! Oh, I'm not going to make it.
So the intelligence check was only need to make that once, but Palkas does need to make 4 more.
To give people perspective, I have a +6.
And So you need to make one more for now, please.
Hold on a second. Here, I take away the inspiration. I will roll another Constitution. Okay, that's a good one.
Yep. Right. So as you're kind of standing there, these two kind of wispy balls of light emerge from the helm, and let's see. Hang on. So we've got
Palkas' eyes get really big.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5. Okay, we're gonna do a roll.
Uh-oh.
See. Right, so hang on. 1, 2, 3. So Nightcaste, these well, actually we're gonna split them up. There's 2 of them that emerge. So the first one heads towards Coyra, and the first one heads towards Malvola, and the second one heads towards Coyra. And these little balls of light are kind of speeding towards you quite quickly from the helm. And I don't know if do you want to keep reciting, or are you going to do anything different?
Yeah,
or
because that was what I understood to be like the critical importance.
Okay. So sorry, Coyra, and you?
Coyra also keeps going, even though she's like a little bit scared. As last time light came to her, she almost died.
All right. So
Last time there were little lights, and then there was a big flash of light.
okay. So they're going to shock you.
Oh crap.
So the first one misses Malvola, and they both miss. But these little arcs of lightning now, they're like the Thorncraft wisps, right?
So you've got baby companions floating around right now.
So you're saying they're like the most evil creature in the game?
Yeah, basically.
Have you ever tried hitting those things?
Did they like take their shot and then disappear, or
No.
are they hanging around?
They're hanging around.
Oh, good.
Maybe they choose another target.
Actually, no. I will welcome that thing to come after me.
Okay. Palkas, I would like you to make another Constitution save, please.
Okay.
So, Coyra is not gonna do anything about the light things, but seeing it charge towards her didn't make her feel good at all. She doesn't trust light rushing towards her.
Yeah, you're gonna do that?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hang on. You can manipulate one attack anytime before we get in this. Okay. So now at any point I can have you roll on the wild magic table.
If it's a spell, if I cast a spell, any spell, it automatically surges.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see. All right.
Wasn't this last time the reason for the fire?
Shush. Unless I rest, but you know, we're not doing that anytime soon. So.
I mean, let's be honest. What's resting?
You already had your rest. What do you want? Rest.
So I changed the 11 into a 14 because that's, me
Okay.
rolling.
All right.
My Tides of Chaos is gone.
Okay. And Malvola and Coyra, do you want to do anything with the wisps?
Coyra has huge respect for those things flying through. Out of fear that it might hurt someone else, she's gonna let them be.
Okay. Right, so they are going to zap you again.
Zappy.
Oh, they're going to try anyway. So 15 to hit Malvola.
Armor class 18.
Okay. Like, suck it. And then 10 for Coyra. Okay.
Also doesn't hit.
All right.
Every time it misses, you just see Coyra like.
You're like, oh,
Your hair's starting to,
dodging
like-
around.
Hair's starting to stand up from static.
Yeah. Palkas, another con save, please.
Jesus.
Okay. So wait, hang on. How many is that? That's 1, 2. So you got one more to go.
I do.
All right, and
I did 4.
then you. I said you had 4
Yep.
more. Though.
4
Yeah,
more?
4 more after the one. Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh shit.
For a total of 5.
Ah, at least it's not 4 more
Yay.
from now.
It's almost like I said half a minute. So 15
Almost,
again, and then 19 to hit you this time, Coyra.
Definitely hits.
Okay. So it does 10 points of lightning damage. Okay. And one more.
Coyra is not happy about that.
Okay. And one more con save, please, from Palkas.
Uh-oh. It was
You
bound
see-
to happen.
You see Palkas's brains start leaking out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Um,
A little there is.
So the usual.
So you take some force damage from this being the one holding the relic. It just kind of emanates this damage, and it's directed at you, and you take 10 force damage.
Okay.
Okay. Alright. And with that, sorry. The priestess stops reciting the prayer and kind of looks like expectantly at Ulder Ravenguard. And so it's kind of clear that the ritual is complete, but these 2 wisps are still bobbing around. Do you guys want to do anything about those?
Coyra looks towards the priest and is like, help.
Really,
Does she seem to notice the wisps?
She seems pretty focused on Ravenguard at the moment.
Palkas just waits. He's just holding onto the sword and waiting. He doesn't know if the ceremony's actually done because he didn't really understand the
Okay.
words.
Yeah, the same for Coyra, since she somehow blabbered her way through it.
Okay.
I mean, being a snake and a human, it's a bit confusing. So she somehow managed to blabber her way through it, but is just looking at the priest like, help.
This thing is attacking me.
It's supposed to be doing this.
Is anybody going to do anything about the wisps? Or you're all waiting to see?
I want to, but I don't know if it would mess up the ceremony. It would mess up the ritual.
Yes, so
Kind of
That's
what
the-
I'm doing.
that's the exact reason why
But
Coyra is looking for
I'm
help.
going to stab Coyra's.
Okay.
All I got was I'm going to stab Coyra.
I heard wisp.
Coyra's
I
wisp.
didn't hear anything about this.
Too bad I did.
What is Coyra's armor class?
No. Hang on, let me see
I'm
what
fine
that.
if he's stabbing me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that the wisp easily dodges out of the way of the blow. Oh, but the second one gets it.
I mean, stabbing electricity, is it a good thing? I feel
Well, we're about to find out, aren't we?
Okay. So that wisp, yes, it takes some damage from your rapier, and loses kind of some of its, some of its spark. Yeah,
energy.
some of
She
its
liked
energy.
my spark.
I was thinking she liked my spark. Yeah, it's not shining quite as brightly.
Oh, if it's a first round, I have my third attack.
Oh yeah. Let's do it.
Seeing
Okay.
Thorns stab the thing makes Coyra even concerned
yeah.
looking.
That one zaps into nothingness, so just kind of zzz, and just dissipates.
Ulder
Yeah, so
Ravenguard's
Coyra-
head
I'm going
explodes.
to
You know-
shriek. Just go, ah!
You see,
Just joking.
you see a smile on Coyra's face, but also just plain being scared. Maybe that thing was needed. So she's happy and scared at the same time.
Mhm.
The other one's attacking Malvola, right?
It is, yeah. Anybody doing anything about that one? Or-
What the hell?
Never mind. Oh?
The first one was a warning shot.
Okay.
The
Okay.
second one hits. Okay.
We know how hard it is to hit those things. Remember.
And yes, it kind of dissipates a little and becomes about half as bright as it was. Maybe a little less than half.
Coyra just looks more concerned.
Unless we need to get rid of these things in order for the ritual to truly be complete.
Where are we
They
at?
seem surplus to requirements, let's be honest.
Okay. That wisp is actually, instead of attacking, shoots off like away from you, and it's moving very quickly as well. It moves about 100 feet away from you.
Jesus.
Can I take a parting shot as it's leaving?
Oh, sure, why not? That hits. You almost get it, but it's like this tiny little wisp now, instead of like at first it was like kind of larger. Now it's
Boop it.
In the meantime, the priest is kind of like, she rushes forward to Ravenguard, and she says, "I think he's coming too. He's stopped gibbering at least." And you do notice that there's kind of like, almost, now the will-o-wisp is gone as well, or is exiting. There's almost this eerie quiet. The noise of Ravenguard's gibbering has become kind of this monotonous background hum at this point, and it suddenly kind of grinds to a halt. And
Does it sound like a pug snoring by any chance?
Yes, it does.
Okay, beautiful. I thought I heard something.
She is honking quite softly over my shoulder
I
right
almost
there.
lost my earbud. So, yeah, she says, "I think he's coming too."
Palkas is still statue still with the sword, not knowing if he can let go or move or anything like that. He's just kind of stoic at this point.
Coyra
Waiting.
just says, those stun lightings hurt. Seeing that her one is gone, she just saying that they hurt.
Is the other one hanging around, or is it still continuing?
It's
I mean,
It
had
is
its
running
target
away.
on follow. No.
It is running away. Yeah.
That's fine. Welcome to hell, here's your record.
I thought hell would be a vacation place.
So there's this kind of shuddering breath, this deep shuddering breath from Ravenguard. It's stopped talking completely, and he just kind of takes this big deep breath in, and then kind of like, just slowly exhales, and you can see his face. The helm has like one of those, I don't know the fancy words, but the piece that comes kind of down over your nose, but has the like cutout for the eyes, and then almost Roman, kind of looking, and you see his eyes kind of fluttering a little bit. He does seem to be regaining consciousness and his faculties a little.
Quick, stab him!
I've got a great sword above him. Just drop the sword. Now, Palkas is just watching while holding the sword at this point. And what is the priestess's, what is she doing?
She says, she asks, "Do you have water?" I think he probably
Palkas is like,
do not just hose him down with the
wrap your lips around this.
she says,
You get to drink from the fire hose.
Thank you. Thank you. This is awesome.
Stanley Spadowski's Funhouse. Palkas would say, we have some. Can I put this sword down?
Oh, she says, oh, of course, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, that hurt. Oh, God. He pulls out a water skid and offers it to her.
At this point, Ravenguard's eyes are kind of like open up pretty wide, and he's looking up, from his, position on the altar at the priestess. And, yeah, and everybody he's looking around.
Well, they should recognize Rhea, hopefully.
Is he still wearing the helmet?
Yes.
Okay. Palkas says, can you hear me?
And at that moment, he kind of like, it's almost like this moment of recognition, and he kind of like hurriedly takes the helmet off and sits there sits up and is looking at this helm, and is looking around at all of you and says, where am I, and how did I get here?
High
And
hall
who are you?
by a snake.
You're in hell. You were transported here via snake. Indeed.
He says, where are my guards?
So they're all dead. Except for one. Rhea, maybe you can explain.
Palkas grabs the sword and says, I'm going to go return this.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Grimm has taken the helm, is kind of starting to lift it.
No.
Well, I figure it's got that feature,
Upon seeing that,
feature.
I mean,
Does the decanter of endless water have a spritz bottle feature?
upon seeing John do
That
that, Coyra goes to Thorn and tries to slap the helm out of it. She's angry at him.
It's not
Grimm,
Thorn,
not
it's
Thorn.
Grimm.
Sorry, Grimm, sorry. Yeah, she's angry at the helm, so she tries to slap it out of him.
He just wants to try it.
She blames the helm for taking that she took damage, so she tries to get rid of that thing. You know how she said with that wood? She has the same feelings for that helmet.
So Rhea doesn't appear to be stepping up to actually do the one thing she might be useful for, but the character.
So,
I
Rhea-
guess
Rhea isn't Flaming Fist. Rhea is Elturel. Right?
We're Flaming
Yeah.
Fist.
Yeah, but isn't
Sort of.
Ravenguard her Elturel boss?
No, there was a
He's
Flaming
ours.
Fist guy.
Oh, he's ours?
He's the Baldur's
Oh, okay.
Gate official leader that was missing.
I mean, they all look the same, these movies.
They all use
Okay.
the same token.
So, alright. Duke Ravenguard, is it, I suppose? The short version is that you were taken to Elturel by cultists of infernal powers, and Elturel was then dragged down into Avernus and mostly destroyed and mostly killed. And you just went and found a form and put it on, and it sent you a bit silly. But we've got it off now, and here we are in hell. And we've come from Candlekeep to find you and bring you back to Candlekeep, because apparently that's really important.
So Coyra really quickly adds to that. Quite proudly, she says, "And I didn't eat you."
He kind of like looks at you
She's
like.
quite proud of that.
He says, I do recall Elturel being transported to Avernus. He says, and I do recall traveling to the chapel to retrieve the helm. And we decided to, that I should try wearing the helm in the reflecting pool for the best possibility of communicating with Thorn. He says, but after that, I don't know what happened. He says, but I do. He's kind of like rubbing his head. He says, I feel like there's been a raging argument in my head.
Yes.
Torm and Abyssal Powers were frame as a kind of sparring ground.
He says, I do remember. He says, I put the helm on so that Thorn could show me the path forward. He says, and I do have some, remember some visions. And he kind of like, he's looking up at you, and then he spots Lulu. I remember you from my vision, he says, and he points at Lulu.
Palkas returns at this point.
He says, you were with the woman. And then he's like rubbing his head again. And he says, you were with the woman who, she was in armor. She was a soldier, I think, wearing the colours and the crest of Elturel. But she had a mighty long sword, fit for an angel. It says, I remember she had a cut on her face that was bleeding quite heavily. And you were flying next to her, he points at Lulu. He says, and there was an enormous loping demon chasing her. And he chased her to this mountain, and then he was going to devour her, but she plunged the sword into the ground while you were trumpeting at the demon, and the demon was hurled back, and the woman, I think it was her, made this grand alabaster palace rise up around the sword. But I remember you flew to the skies, the red skies of Avernus. And there I could see you watching as this bloody scab grew up from the ground to engulf the palace and the demon at the same time. And he's rubbing his head again. And he says, I think...
That's cheese.
says, I think you were wandering then. I saw you wandering around Avernus, and two bird-like humanoids dressed in patchwork armor. They were standing next to some strange infernal machine, and they were equipped with all these odd weapons and tools. Do you remember them? He's kind of pointing. Who are those people? He says to Lulu.
Obviously, if she replies, it's probably not going to be heard by the rest of us. Does he seem to signify that he's receiving a response?
Yeah, he does seem to kind of, it's almost like he's listening, you know.
Okay.
And Lulu does kind of say, like, you'll all hear her say as well, that she says, I think that was Yale, she says.
Not Harvard.
Not Harvard.
She says, she was Zariel's most loyal Hell Rider. She says, and it wasn't her who raised the palace or the fortress around the sword. That was me.
Who said that was me?
Lulu.
Oh. Palkas would say, why do you remember this now?
She says, Ulder's account of this story has helped me remember this. Says there is a lot more to remember, but I can't at the moment.
You have memories blocked. I remember you saying you were... Somebody helped you. You hid a sword. But you don't know who and you don't know where. Do you know either of those now?
She says, I think it was Yale. I think that's who helped me hide the sword.
Do you know why?
She says, I think... she says, no, I don't remember. And she's thinking, she says, she's kind of fluttering there thinking as suddenly this, from the end of her trumpet, end of her trunk, sorry, not her trumpet,
Her trunk.
but this this little ball of light, she produces this little ball of light. She startles herself with it, and she's, oh,
It's another wisp.
she says, I remember how to do this as well.
Oh.
She says, I remember I used to do this all the time. Whenever it was helpful, I would make light in the darkness. And she flutters close to Palkas and touches your mole with her trunk, and it suddenly glows with light. Says, I can do this all the time. She said, and she's super proud and happy of herself. And she's fluttering around, basically casting light on random things.
Okay. So I would imagine after she's cast it on one or two things, the previous things go out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Follow
the
the
light.
normal rules of the light.
Okay.
So.
Just seeing a ball of light, Coyra actually covers she doesn't trust it.
Palkas would be like,
She was-
aha, that's nice. And he's looking at it like, make it stop. Make it.
Coyra was just recently hit by a ball of light, so she doesn't trust it. It's the second time a ball of light has hurt her.
A druid
Oh,
afraid
light
of
like this.
woods and sun.
Actually,
What the-
I mean,
Not afraid of woods. Hatred for woods.
spell. Okay.
Completely different.
Yeah. So as she casts it on the next thing, yeah, your mole would no longer be.
All right. So Palkas says, do you remember anything about how you can help to get these people back from hell? If not all of Elturel? Was your time spent talking with Torm and comprehensible enough to come up with that?
He says, I don't remember anything more of my vision. And Lulu is kind of flapping around and she's kind of stopped casting light on things. And then she...
Coyra just really does a sigh of relief, phew.
Not getting zapped. She so wait, you were asking Ravenguard that, if he remembers?
Yeah.
Okay. Lulu flutters up to you and she says, Chuka and Clonk. Those were their names.
Palkas is like, you're talking to me. What? Whose names?
She says, they were the Kenku that he remembers. Or that he saw in his visions. Says they were the bird folk.
Chokka and Clonk. What did they do again? Palkas is trying to...
What bird folk? I don't remember any bird.
She says they took me to a junkyard called Fort Knucklebone. Says, I remember there they build and repair infernal machines that are designed to move quickly across Avernus.
Why did they take you there?
She says, no, it's quite efficient.
Is that where you ended up, or you went there to travel quickly?
She says, I don't remember. She says, I'll be right back. And she flutters quickly away from you.
Okay. Ulder Ravenguard, how are you? Would you like some tasteless food?
We need to get him back to Candlekeep now, surely.
What's that?
We need to get him back to Candlekeep, surely.
Yes, let's wait for Lulu to return. Do you know... it wasn't Traxicor that sent us. It was the... What was the name of the... Shoot.
It was Traxigor. Traxigor's the author.
No, the guy who sent us on the mission from Candlekeep. It wasn't Fisk,
no,
it
that
was...
Was that Silvera?
No, she was the one at Candlekeep.
We were brought to Silvera Savicus, yes. That's the person that was requesting us to do this in the first place. So,
No, I thought it was the guard woman that sent us to Candlekeep
the guard woman?
back in Baldur's Gate.
She sent us to Candlekeep, but Silvira is the one that wanted us to go to Hell to get Ulder Ravenguard.
Yeah.
The one who sent us to Candlekeep was sending us
Porter.
because of the plot about El Terrell and the stuff that we found out about the Van Thampers, and basically gave us a blessing of Waterdeep. So, which I can't remember her name without looking it up either.
Liara Porter.
What's that?
I just looked it up. Liara Porter.
There we go. So
she sent us to Candlekeep to find the lady there, who sent us to Traxigor, who sent us to Hell.
So I guess at this point, I would assume that we would take a few minutes, explain everything of our journey to Ulder Ravenguard, so that he's informed where we came from, what we're doing here, and give him food and water, and then see what he has to say to that.
Also, Duke Van Thamper is dead. She was conspiring against it.
Oh yeah, most definitely all of that. Yes.
Yeah.
About the Van Thampers and how they were conspiring to take over Waterdeep or something like that.
Okay. Alright, so you
Do we
share.
also mention Thorn stabbing us, or do we let them
Let's leave that as a
We
surprise
might play down
for
the
him to discover
stabbiness.
on his
It
own.
might be.
Stabbed anyone who didn't deserve it.
Oh, and you might want to mention the fact that I can't remember his name now. The El Taro guy.
Thavius Krieg is
Yeah.
in league with the devils or something.
Yeah.
He's
Yep.
not human anymore.
And he escaped us
Yep.
before we were able to determine
In
this.
fact, he might be here somewhere.
No, he's up on the realm somewhere, as far as I know. We need to get Ravenguard back so he can take over Baldur's Gate and make sure Baldur's Gate doesn't get dragged to hell, and help Silvera lead the rescue effort for these poor buggers trapped here. Hopefully start working on defeating that treacherous bugger with the demon shadow.
I suppose-
If he chooses to go back.
And I suppose
So
we would
this
share with
is-
him that we have a method of transport.
So this is what he'll say. He'll say,
Limited.
when you start saying we need to find a way to get him back, he says, I'm not leaving these people.
But the whole point is for you to rescue these people.
Yeah, how can I do
We
that
was-
if I leave?
Well, we were set. Candlekeep sent us to find you on the express basis that you would be able to save these people once we got you back for some strategizing. That's the whole point of us being here.
He says, this is not my decision. I was not involved in that decision. He says, but as far as I can see, the best way for me to help save these people is to stay here and fight with them.
But how are you gonna get them
Right.
out of hell?
Palkas said, well,
the
I'm hoping
literally
you...
limitless devils of hell. You're going to help them stand against infinite hordes of devils. That'll be really valuable, won't it?
He says it is one more sword to fight for those devils to fight against. He says
One more body to add to the pile.
he says that may be true. He says, but I'm not going to abandon them.
We're not talking about abandoning them. We're
Isn't
talking
your
about retreat.
first responsibility to Baldur's Gate, which is under the extreme risk of suffering the same fate as Eldritch.
Palkas
It
says,
is far
Also,
more important
have you never-
that you
you're
are
supposed to
back
be a-
in Baldur's Gate, especially now that literally half the council is gone because
I mean,
Van Thamper is dead. You're here.
So,
I
Coyra,
mean, you're supposed to be a warrior, right? You must have heard of tactical withdrawal
He
and
says
Coyra actually
retrenchment.
goes to Palkas while they are arguing and asks, with the sending stone, if I said black, it meant that they tried to get us back as soon as possible, right? Does that mean he would be taken back even if he doesn't want to?
Palkas said,
He's
let's
asking.
not approach that just yet. Says, I think we should find out what he learned from the helm, because he put it on to find out how to save the people.
He just told us that. He had
I
a
agree.
big, boring dream about how wonderful Lulu.
And it restored some of her memory, and she said she'd be back. We
Yeah,
waited for
it sounds
Malvola,
like
we can wait for
Malvola.
her.
Coyra just says to Palkas, I agree, but if it's needed, could we use that as a solution? Also,
If we need to send people back,
okay.
I would much rather send back 8 of the most needing people, rather than myself, at least.
Something tells me Ravenguard's going to stay, which means we've got to find a way to save Elturel, which probably, based on the visions, has something to do with that sword. But that's just a guess.
Hey, it's your god.
wait, which one?
Like I said,
Your god seems to be all about swords
things are
lately.
probably going to be like I described. He's going to refuse to go. They're going to argue and argue and argue. He'll still refuse to go, and we're going to go looking for a sword.
But that's just insane.
Well, it depends on what the
We're
sword
just-
can do.
We're just 5 in different thieves.
Hey, we were supposed to find a helmet. We found it.
We were supposed to find this bloody idiot. We found him.
We
Job
found him
done.
too. We got a 2 for 1. How difficult can a sword be?
We have no idea whether that sword is of any use, accessible whatsoever. I mean, who cares about this sword? He's just dreaming mad dreams. It's not relevant.
But if the visions come from Thorn, that could be the answer to getting
Yeah.
Elturel back
Or from the abyss.
and saving all of these people.
How? It's a sword. It's not a magic gateway.
Maybe it is a
If
magic
that
gateway.
sword is angelic,
If I can cast spells with my
Because
maul,
he
why
just-
couldn't
it
he
was
cast them
described
with
as
his
fit for
sword?
an angel, that could,
True.
which
I can
could be the
become
key to getting
animals.
Elturel back.
I mean, that's new to Coyra.
It's not going to be an insignificant. A sword like that isn't going to be insignificant.
You have absolutely no idea about that whatsoever. I understand that your faith is your thing, but I mean, come on, man.
It's hard to take you serious with a cat going crazy behind you.
You look like you're being chomped.
Maybe a little. Every time we turn around, the goalposts are just shifted randomly by the latest idiot we happen to blunder in.
And you're surprised by this?
Well, we were given a fairly important mission by Sylvia, who sounded like she had some kind of tactical plan for rescuing Elturel.
Okay.
Just because Mr. Puffy Britches here is all bloated with this self.
He's like patting his trousers. They're not that puffy.
Okay. How about here's one possible explanation, or one possible answer. Our job is to get him back, right? He refuses to leave, which means the only way we're going to get him back is to get Elturel back.
or
Oh.
just use the stone while we're next to him.
If the stone
I
works,
was saying all along.
we were never given a guarantee that they'd be able to bring us back.
I've been saying all along that surely we're supposed to be helping these people. But oh no, you four have assured me at every step that what we have to do is find Ulder bloody Ravenguard and take him back to bloody Candlekeep. Well, here he bloody is.
No, I just said we had to find him. That was
Coyra actually,
the extent of my.
after the conversation with Palkas that she had, she looks in her bag and tries to bluff that she lost the stone when transforming into a snake, trying to get Mr. Angry over here to turn down. Do I need to roll for anything?
Yeah,
Persuasion?
deception actually.
Yeah.
If you're gonna try and like
I'm gonna
deceive them, that yeah.
This could be interesting.
Has anybody got any inspiration that they can give to Shy? Just
I don't.
I might need it.
oh, Thorn's just too angry to.
She tries to look incredibly sorry for losing the stone. To those that caught onto it, she just nods slightly
Just
like,
because.
"Shh, don't say it."
Oh,
So-
Grimm's not going to spoil it. He's just.
I think Grimm figured out what she's trying to do. She's like, please believe it.
Well,
She's
I
just
guess
thinking that.
that means we got to go with Plan B.
Yep. Coyra
Ooh.
tries to look guilty, like, sorry that I lost this stone.
So Ulder Ravenguard will say, I don't know what you agreed or who you agreed it with, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to leave these people. I'm willing to die for these people. In fact, I probably will, and I'm totally fine with that. He says, I don't know why Silvera thinks that me going back to Candlekeep will somehow magically save Elturel. He says, as far as I can tell, the best way is to seek out this sword. It seems to be key in whatever is next. It's what I'm taking from the visions I received from Thorn, and that is why I am staying.
Palkas says.
Thoroughly credulous.
Palkas says, I lied.
Ooh.
I was only trying to get a narrow focus because it was too much to think to save an entire city with just the few of us. I was merely trying to encourage that we can attain simple goals if we work towards it. I think we did. I can't say that I stick to plans very well, let alone cast the spell I intend to, but we have information about the death of your brother. We have information that led to the corruption of the angel. We have its companion. We have the companion. We've got all these people that need our help. And I think, again, we're in a unique position to be able to do so. Taking the forces head on, we would lose. But I think if we try to investigate, I'm not too good at it, but I try. I think we might have a chance of getting everyone out of here.
And at this moment, Lulu flutters back down towards the main level of High Hall, and she says to you very excitedly, Palkas, I can see it. I can see Fort Knockabone. I think it's only like 10 miles away. We could get there today. We could go.
The whole time she's saying this, he's like still trying to talk, saying all that.
We could seek out the Kenku, Chaka and Clonk. I know they would help us.
At the end of his conversation, he actually starts repeating exactly what she's saying at this point, not realizing that he's doing that.
Where is this Fort Knucklebone?
And he goes,
Something tells me it's not in Avernus.
Lulu, would you please
not in Elturel.
speak to them?
So Lulu will share with you all. She telepathically she has to do this. It's very tedious. She has to do it one at a time. So you're all kind of standing there drumming your fingers while she's telling one person, and then so frustrating.
Well, she could just have one person repeat her words.
Okay, or you could do that.
Palkas just nominated himself, right?
yeah. I was kind of wondering why Palkas didn't do that.
He started to by accident.
So she says, I flew up, high up above the cathedral, and looked out over Avernus, across the landscape below Elturel, and I can see Fort Knucklebone. Says, I don't think it's any more than 10 miles away.
Is that straight down by any chance?
Yeah, Coyra also asked the same. Do you mean 10 miles down?
Well, no, I mean, we'd have to get down first, but then it's not that far.
Yeah, the down part's the problem, because when we looked down over the edge, we saw a war going on.
Yeah, there's that, and
says they're so busy. They're so busy fighting amongst themselves. I think we could sneak past them.
Palkas looks over to Rhea. Do you have griffins in this city? Still, perhaps?
Rhea says, no. She's Candlekeep had griffins, but...
One task at a time. Lulu, did you see a way down?
What about the chains?
I feel like the chains might be a bit too hot to touch.
Or the post things.
So we could check the chains.
Unless somebody's got a really long rope.
What if we just dump all the water overboard and create a stack of obsidian this time Oh wait, water doesn't work like that.
Oh wait, if we have Malvola stand at the top and aim the Everfull urn down and just ride the water ladder down.
Yeah! See, then the only issue would be going back up. That's an issue for another day.
Well, actually, if we could climb on an ice ladder in less than an hour, I might be able to freeze the water going down. But that would be too fragile at the top. No, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, also all the fire around don't
up in the air.
Yeah. How far up are we?
I don't know that you guys have actually checked it out.
Check what out?
How far up you are.
We once looked down and saw.
Yeah, basically, no Lulu, how far up are we?
Oh, it's just a little jump.
1.76 kilometers.
Right.
I remember how to measure.
Trying to think like
to me.
how Lulu knows like how high you are.
How many dwarves high are we?
Oh God.
Yeah, that's a good question.
If she can't give us an estimate of like our altitude,
how do
then
she
how
know
do we
that
trust the
it's
10 miles
yeah.
away?
Maybe it's like 100.
She's fine with horizontal, just vertical. No good. Hang on, let me see if there is actually.
Or is there someplace close enough we could actually look?
Yeah, and you would have actually seen when you were
bridge.
crossing the bridges. Yeah, I'm just trying to find it exactly.
I mean, we saw then that there was some kind of battle raging below.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said about a mile.
Of course, we don't know how far the city's been drugged down since.
Oh, that's true.
Wait, drug down?
Yes.
The chains are pulling the city down.
Yep.
Oh, I thought they were holding it from floating away.
No, it's tagging the tile.
No, unfortunately, it's pulling it down.
If only it was that easy. Break the chains, go up.
Why don't we?
Actually, yeah.
You think? Right, hang on.
Something tells me those aren't like insignificant chains.
I mean, if they're pulling it down, we can just work.
You think Lulu would suggest, and you would think that she's about right, and that you're about 500 feet from the ground.
Oh, that's not very
So
far.
it's not a little hop down. Yeah, that's an issue.
I once
Let's see,
met a
the average
dwarf
fall
that had a
damage
spell
is-
that could help you float.
Fall damage is a d6 for every, what, 10 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surviving that.
So.
And I'm not willing to
that's
die.
only about
50 d6?
That's only 50 d6.
You just need to grind some levels for a while, so you've got enough each.
I know where we can find a nightmare.
Bye. Like, I actually looked at it. At level 8, I can fly.
Yeah, you could carry us down one at a time.
Or I can become a giant wasp and sting you all.
So, I think we should investigate one of the chains, though. They look massive, but perhaps there's a way we can either climb down it, though I don't know that that's a good idea, or break them from the platform. I didn't realize the city was being dragged down.
I mean, if you just hang around long enough, you'll eventually get to ground.
Yeah, that was what Thorn was saying, yeah.
Coyra was about to suggest that. Maybe we just wait it out and we'll get down either way.
Or does anybody have about 500 feet of
I left it in my other sack. Lulu, how much weight can you support?
Rope. Nope, I don't. Sorry.
Yeah, I've only got 50
Oh no, I
feet.
Did you just
I've
say
had
nope rope?
rope 10. That's like almost there, right?
Well, it's not just getting down to the ground. It's getting down to the ground, not where the battle is. That's
And wasn't there a river or something down there?
There is a river down there.
No, you used to go right through the city.
Oh, there's Avernus' own river down there.
Yeah, we don't want to get in that river.
No,
Yeah.
you sure? Little
But
paddle?
I'm just thinking of things we want to avoid.
Yeah.
You know, this is Nobby suggesting this, and he is the guy who's obsessed with creating new characters.
I might have the occasional off-the-wall suggestion.
So let's see, options. We
Yeah,
can try
diving
and...
into the river Styx is not a good suggestion.
I wasn't suggesting. I'm just saying that I was listing things to avoid. I wasn't suggesting jumping in the river.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, the river Styx? So is this like... Well,
Get that
we
straight,
we
I
dip
wasn't
ourselves in there and we
jumping
become
in.
invincible, right? That's what happened
It's
with
not
Achilles.
Greek mythology.
Hey, none of us would survive the fall into the river. From that high up, that river would be like dropping on cement.
So options...
Actually, I think from your studies, you would probably have an idea of some of the river's effects.
I mean,
so
for
goals,
us,
rather. Goals. We've got a sword to pursue. I mean, ultimately, get the city, or more importantly, its occupants back. The sword might have some superpowers. Maybe it's a portal sword.
And
There's
since Coyra lost the stone.
Maybe
I just looked at you hoping that nobody saw the lost bit.
maybe we can.
That wasn't in character.
Okay.
But getting to it is obviously the issue because we're up on a giant platform. But it's being pulled down, which obviously it being pulled down is something that they are trying to achieve, though it would seem difficult because of the giant war that's going on down there. So, breaking chains, maybe?
I have just this gut feeling that if the city does get all the way to like ground level, we're done. There's like
Game
that's
over.
the point of no return. We can't.
There's not a lot left to save at that point.
Right. This is why breaking chains was an option.
The chains, going by the map at least, look to be the size of not a house but a city.
Yeah, but
That's not really
maybe.
breakable.
Who says that? Maybe they're weak chains?
Well, they had to get there somehow.
Also, Coyra casually goes
Yeah, the power of Zari.
to Thorn. No, God damn it again. To Grimm and just whispers.
All right, so let's say the chains are so darn thick we can't break them. Maybe we can break the ground that they're attached to.
What is pulling the chains down? Like, how are they being pulled down?
Maybe we can break that. That might be the most difficult, though, because that might take us directly into...
The battle.
So
Yeah.
what you've seen there are these tremendous jagged posts that you've seen on kind of the horizon of the city, and they have these massive chains, like enormous chains attached to them. That's kind of what you've seen.
If we had some means of slowing our...
I'm telling you, I saw a dwarf do it once. He was from Waterdeep. He had this weird accent. I don't know the spell.
Do it to a small degree, just not from this high up.
Rhea, Ulder, any ideas how to get to the ground
Or if we
safely?
had wings.
We killed the incubus.
I don't care for the idea of hanging.
Incubus taxi
That would get
service.
us down as well as out toward Knucklebone, but I don't know how to translate that into in-game.
So why is there a battle going on below us?
It's hell, of
Versus
course.
devils.
Is
Blood War.
demons and devils, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Who brought the city here?
Sariel.
And is she a devil or a demon?
I think she's on the
Neither,
devil's.
she's a fallen angel.
I think she's on the devil's side, though.
Okay. So then the city here is probably because of devils. Why are the demons here?
They want to destroy the
They've
devils.
always been at war.
Right, but I
They've been at
mean,
war for a long time.
why would the devils bring it to the demons area? I mean, that doesn't make
all
sense.
of Avernus. All of Avernus, friend Palkas. The Blood War rages across Avernus. They haven't brought us to where it's happening. It is everywhere.
What if Palkas gets this look on his face? What if we employed some devils?
As what?
Transport.
And how are you going to
I'm not
employ
making any deals
these
with any
devils?
Does anybody know any spells?
Ironically, this is one time when Thorn and I agreed.
Both looking at
tell you the
Palkas
gravity
like
of the
this.
situation.
Both
was
looking
just
at
a
Palkas
thought.
Like your head's like on backwards or something. Growing another one.
But I was just thinking, we've seen one that had wings. Maybe there were other methods that they had of flying that we could procure. That's the word, right?
What?
Procure. He seems unsure.
Coyra actually mentions, what about that horseman keeps roaming the town? Maybe the horse is magical. Who knows?
It is.
Yeah, the horse is a demon too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's not gonna allow us to.
It's as smart as any other devil that we've encountered.
It seems
So not
that
smart
our
at all.
only option is just to wait until the city is brought to the ground.
But this seems like there would be a permanent feature of hell then. The moment it seems like there's a chance of escape.
Then the entire
But-
war is upon this
I
city.
mean, in what way does this not look like a permanent feature? I don't
Because-
understand.
They're still dragging it down. Maybe there's a chance it will still go up. But maybe once it touches the ground it becomes a permanent feature. It's stuck to the ground then.
Lulu,
I'm
do
just
you remember?
guessing.
Do you
The
remember?
birds didn't tell me that much.
Lulu, do you remember anything about the significance of Zariel's sword? Why it was so valuable and hidden?
She says, I just remember that it's incredibly powerful. She says, it
Yeah, like Thorn's helm, no doubt.
definitely has power that we might use.
Hmm.
Still comes down to how do we get down?
Okay,
Wait,
try
maybe
putting
we're
that
doing
thing
this
on,
wrong.
Grimm.
Why go for force when we can go for thinking? We can study the contract.
Wait, we think?
What contract?
The book that was held by the lady.
The Creed Resolute?
Yes. Maybe we find the terms that things can be broken and we break it.
Coyra suggests, well, you guys are looked at. Mind if I take a small rest? I didn't do it while I was in snake form.
You can do it while
She's
you're in
trying.
snake form.
She wasn't. She was trying to go.
Oh, right.
As she didn't need a rest back then.
Okay.
Seriously, Grimm, maybe you should try putting Thorn's helm on. I mean, you're a priest of it.
Last time I tried that, Coyra knocked it out of my
Yeah.
hand. Or tried to knock it out of my hand.
Don't tell her.
I mean, I'm standing right here. And I can hear you. It's
See,
the
and
essence
until
of
she
pure
decides to take a
evil.
rest and then do it. Got it.
I mean, you know,
I mean, as long as
it's no
Actually,
worse
you know what?
idea than anything else I've heard.
if your head is stuck inside that thing, you can't blame me, and I'm not getting sparked again.
No more zaps.
She's just warning you. She will not get zapped again. She's not taking that risk. She
Pal-
knows how it hurts, so she's not gonna do
Palkas asks the name of the
No,
priestess that
You're a
helped us.
friend, so
Her name is Viria.
He thanks her for what she's done and says that the Creed Resolute is the contract that was used to bring the city here. Is there something about that that can be undone? Or is there a method of travel that the city still possesses that would allow us to safely get to the ground that you're aware of?
She says, I am no expert on any deals made with devils, she says. And I would, she says, I heard you mention maybe employing some. She says, I would heartily recommend not to because, in fact, the result will be the reverse. So, she says, as far as getting to the ground, the only way that I can think of is for you to climb the chains unless you have some magical means at your disposal.
Dang it, left the magic carpet in the other sack again.
I mean, surely if we're climbing chains at that point, we're not helping Ulder Ravenguard in his pathetic, suicidal desperation to save the people of the city.
Palkas says, what do you think we're doing?
I have no idea.
Just because it is.
Whatsoever what we're supposed to be doing. I'm entirely confused and I'm disappointed.
Just because it is somewhat in character when it comes to religious things.
Mm-hmm.
And he's at a loss for what to do.
Uh-oh.
He's going to put it on. Unless somebody stops him, he's going to put it on.
Yeah, Coyra is gonna try to slap that thing out of your hand.
No, Thorn will run interference.
As
I
long
think-
as she
I
can
think
see
it's
you
a viable
try,
idea. I'll just get in the way.
as long as Coyra sees you try, she will do her best to prevent you from using that thing. Even if it means using a Thorn whip to slap that thing out of your hands.
What if I've just grabbed you? You won't.
She will
Okay.
try.
All right.
Interesting.
Let's so let's roll. Oh crap! Hang on.
Initiative.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
She's like,
Hang on. Let me see. Do I have a page that isn't occupied? Hang on.
we don't have any.
What?
I need a
What is-
page that.
Just do it here.
Well, yeah, but there's no tokens.
Oh,
So we
okay.
could go to the actual side of High Hall,
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Are you all there? Let me make sure.
since that's technically where we are.
Yep.
Well, down in the catacombs.
Yep. You are all. Let's move over to High Hall. Okay. Alright, let's roll some initiative.
As soon as I find where.
Gone too soon?
Oh crap! Actually, you know what helps if I. There we go.
Do all of us need to do it, or is it just those that are?
If you think you might participate, I would say do it because if you, I mean.
Okay, all right.
There's somewhere in the middle.
Palkas would ask Lulu during this time, because he's not stopping or intervening there. He would ask her, could you check to see if there is safe passage down one of the chains?
Okay. She says yes, of course, and she will flutter off. She's flying up high and then through a broken window.
Okay.
Who are we missing? Malvola, you.
Wait, what? You both rolled ones?
I'm making popcorn at this point.
Okay. Alright, fair enough.
That might be the case.
It's like squabbling. Everyone's like, ah!
But Grimm's the one that's been praying at windows.
That's it, I'm putting the helmet on. No, you're not! Yes, he is! Oh, I am!
I mean, Coyra tries to stop him is because she got zapped, but thanks to that darn thing.
Yeah. So I mean, Grimm, you're first in the initiative order, so
Yep, on it goes.
on it goes. Okay. Alright. That kind of solves it a little bit. And
Yeah.
I can see kind of maybe Thorn moving in between as he sees Coyra thinking about yeah.
Coyra just grumbles, I'm not gonna save you.
Alright.
But you can clearly see that she doesn't mean it as she cares too much about these people. Like,
I
This
honestly
may
think
be
it might
a really
help.
bad idea, but at the very least, it might confirm what Ulder Ravenguard was saying, vision-wise.
Okay.
Even that would help.
Coyra is just trying to try to convince you that she's not gonna help you if things go south. But of course, you're not falling with it.
She'll turn into a snake and eat you, don't worry.
Basically, her deception roll would be a -1 or so now. And she can't bluff this at all.
When
So
I die, I want my body to be devoured by Coyra.
Does Coyra want to devour your body when you die?
But depends what form it is.
I'm sure it'll taste good to some.
Can she cook it first?
Okay, so Grimm puts the helm on, and Grimm, you're overcome by this. I mean, especially after like everyone's been kind of bickering and arguing, and so much like conflict within like the people. that you're surrounded by, and you put the helm on, and it's just like this wave of peace just washes over you, and the sound of all that argument and everything just fades into the background until you're just silent, and you have this like serene kind of moment where you have this kind of like, there's no, like, none of that background noise, nothing is kind of around you, and as your vision kind of fades from looking at the reality that you're surrounded by, and instead you start to see before you, like, it's like it comes into focus, and you see these troops in gleaming armor, and they are marching across a grassy plain with military precision. Like, they're all in formation, and they're marching like very in a very trained manner. And then in the next breath, you see massive groups of disfigured monsters loping across a blighted landscape, tearing at screaming enemies. And then that fades, and you're returned to the arguing companions and the reality that you had before.
So none of the visions or anything.
So none of the same visions that Ulder Ravenguard had, but certainly a couple of different ones.
Does the helm come off?
No.
Great.
Coyra just
But you
chuckles a
don't seem
little
to be
bit.
gibbering.
It's true.
But
Yeah.
I seem to be possessed of my normal faculties, at least.
Yeah, you guys see, kind of, everybody else sees, Grimm kind of standing there just goes motionless for a couple of moments, and he's just kind of standing there, like, quietly, and then you see him, like, kind of grabbing at the helm, and he's pulling at it, and it's not budging. And
So,
actually, I think
because
we'll...
Coyra sees that in the corner of her eye, she just chuckles a little bit while still grumbling.
Okay. And I think we'll leave it there, actually.
There was a helm super glued to his head.
Yeah.
Remember that you said that you would die?
Thank you,
I mean,
Barry,
it's
for
a
the
fairly
inspiration.
nice piece of silverware. Goldware, I suppose.
Yeah.
Silverware.
It's all
I know.
gleaming. Yeah, I mean, maybe just keep it on for the rest of your life.
So thank you, Barry, for the inspiration. Don't forget, everybody, Kashcah still has to use hers.
I do, yes, it's true.
I'm trying to forget that she has it.
I keep forgetting, actually.
I
I'll
know
remember
this.
in a crucial moment.
Yep.
It wasn't worth wasting it on Minotaurs. Sure. Listen, newbie, do not... No.
It's a different kind of inspiration, newbie.
I mean, it depends on the DM. Just saying.
All right.
I remember that kashcah allowed me to keep my bubble inspiration for like 4 sessions until I finally realized, oh wait, I can use it.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in
Yeah.
for Descent into Avernus. Tune in next time when we figure out if we're still descending into Avernus or not. So,
All right.
all right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.